Q&Asa. Game on daily. Asa. Game on daily.
Welcome. Welcome to the world of Q&Asa. Past, present, and future of gaming are all going to converge, and we're going to talk about it all. Not all at once, because that would just be a big noisy mess, but you know how this goes. We have a little back and forth. We talk about everything. But before we do, here's a word from our sponsor. This show is brought to you by Game On Daily. It's a news aggregation platform that you'll see fairly frequently around this channel because I'm using it quite a bit to find and bring all of the gaming news. Use it to talk about things before the game streamings through the rest of the week. For now, though, this background is scary, is it? Are you terrified by the really amazing ray tracing on the floor? You can tell that it's ray tracing because you can see reflections from the screen even when you can't see the screen. So you can only achieve that with real traced rays, or the dodgy, shitty techniques that I've used to put together this background. How's everyone doing today? We've got some things to talk about. Xbox have announced their Xbox Direct show. There's a few games in there, and we're going to talk a little bit about each of those. That's better than Forza already. It's not a racing game. We're going to talk about those. We're going to talk about games we've been playing for ages, because that is a topic that keeps on giving. But before we do any of that, let's run over how the show works. So if you didn't already know, where have you been all of these years? Where are you now? Everybody should know. It's a back and forth conversation. That's what we do. We talk about stuff. If you know people that might be interested in having such conversations, please do invite them along. Send them a little tweet, whatever it takes. Get some people in here. But we manage. We go back and forth and we have our chats. If that is not good enough for you, there are other options available. You can shout really loudly. At some point during the show, I will appear and the Q&A box will appear on YouTube, so you can leave questions in there. At the end of the show, we address every single one of them one by one. You've also got the option of multiple Discord options, actually. You can, if you are a member of our exciting members and Twitchers Discord, then you can leave questions in there throughout the week that we'll go through at the end of the show as well. You've also got the option of throwing money at your phone or computer or however you're watching to send a super chat, which will make sparkly things happen on the screen. And everyone will be forced to, their eyes will be drawn and they will have to read it, will have to respond to a super chat. There is also the option of coming onto our friendly Discord. There's a link in the description of the video on YouTube, and putting your face and voice on the internet and having a direct little chat with the world about whatever gaming stuff you've got on your mind. Is that all of the options? I didn't number them this time, which makes it very confusing for everyone. The instructions are probably going to get confused. Yeah, it's fine though, it's fine. The new Discord, yes, that's the link. Thank you, Isla. Isla, do you mind popping it on Twitch as well? Obviously there's like never anybody on Twitch, but you know, just in case. And yeah, so tell me what you've been playing. How we always start. Thank you very much for linking that in both destinations. I've got things coming for Twitch to spice it up a bit. They won't really apply here though. So I know some of you have been playing. Some of you jumped into the community stream on Sunday, and we all played. Well, not all of us, but you know, a bunch of us played a bit of Rocket League. Still perfection on wheels. Although they keep on removing our 4v4 mode just when we need it, so that's kind of irritating. Dr. Scottsy, you're nearing the end of your Dying Light 2 obsession. Does that mean you're nearing the end of the campaign, or you've already finished the campaign and you're running in loops and you can just feel your patience wearing thin? Yeah, Dave, you entice that chat over on Twitch to come along. There's nothing you can do about being hungry. No possible solution. Connor, it is indeed Half-Life 2 in the background. You're beginning the last mission. Okay, so it's not so much that your obsession with Dying Light 2 is ending, it's that you're literally just getting to the end of the game, so your obsession will be forced to a close by the end credits or whatever. I played such a small amount of Dying Light 2. I have a Dying Light 2 background I've used before, from right near the start of the game. I liked the first Dying Light, so... No, Connor. Connor, nobody got it before you, and you are, of course, learning the ways of the Guess the Background game, because you've been playing it on Twitter, haven't you? The General C, if you don't already follow him, he's been doing this game almost, well, at least for the last couple of days. I don't know if you're planning to carry it on daily or just as and when you feel like it, but... Matilda, I didn't answer your question. So Matilda on Twitch, I didn't see your question yet. Please just stick it there again, and I will try. Welcome back, by the way. Connor, you're going to try and do it daily. So Connor's taking screenshots of scenery from random games throughout the ages, because you went all the way back to Lost Planet on this one, didn't you? And playing the guessing game over there as well, which is more fun than most of Twitter, or X, or whatever you want to call it. Bri, welcome. How are you doing? Matilda, your question was, will the Switch 2 see the light of days in 2024? I believe so. I could be wrong. So you're probably asking that because a set of rumours have burst around the internet again. Obviously, Switch 2 rumours come and go all the time, but Game Shark, who have rebranded to AI Shark, have said that they're planning their little relaunch or initial launch of AI Shark. September 24th? No, September 24. The year is 2024. So September 24, they're planning to relaunch to coincide with the official launch of the Switch 2. There's not an official date announced, and I doubt those people actually have any inside information, but it's quite possible it comes out in September. I'll be disappointed if it's not this year, because the Switch is old. Bri, do you do stuff on YouTube yourself? Are you subscribing to everyone because you want them to see like your own channel and content, or are you more here for the consumption? Switch is old, yeah. Matilda, do you use the Switch yourself? For those who don't know who Matilda is, I am live on Twitch today as well. There's a couple of people that are over there. So I'm trying to blend the chats as well as I can. I would love to be able to just share it so you're all talking together, but that is against Twitch's terms, so I can't do that at the moment. Tom, you've been playing lots of Lies of P. You got to the door of the final level today. How do you know it's the final level, Tom? Have you been cheating, or does it tell you? A hard bastard is blocking the door. I do still want to play Lies of P. It seemed really polished and nice and like a decent Souls-like game, but there is so much to play. Tony, you're getting inside to get information. Inside Nintendo. Good luck. Evening, Replicant. We're going to talk Warcraft soon. I know you play that. So you never bought your first Switch. At this point, it's worth the wait for the Switch 2. Yeah, I've got a Switch 2 around. It was initially no. I've not got a Switch 2 around. Wouldn't that be something? Insider access. I've done nothing with my Switch. I've got like 5 games for it. Haven't touched them, but loads of games that I want. So, Dave, man, do you think they will close the servers down for League of Legends because, like, as a mercy to us, they're going to close the entire game down so that we don't suffer that many deaths and murders? We're going to talk about League of Legends as well. Why not? Why not? Episode 13, you played Rocket League with me and Forza and some EA FC with your friend Chris. Good. How often would you say you play the EA? I'm just going to keep calling it FIFA. It's easier. How often do you play FIFA? I know the other ones because I was there. Did I ray trace the monitor on the floor? Connor, I'm so glad you noticed. I know I said it out loud. Yeah. Stunning, right? Real time. It's not real ray tracing. It's a baked in nasty mimic of an effect. But yes, I put in the effort to reflect the monitor onto the floor. Why did I do that? It's not... I've not got a clue. I don't know why I do anything. But here we are. I'm glad you noticed. Right. More about the games. So I've been playing. Which one should we start with? I played God of War Ragnarok Valhalla. Let's start with that. Who likes roguelikes in general? Roguelikes and roguelikes and roguelites. Because it is a genre that I don't get along with the very notable exception of Hades. And God of War Ragnarok Valhalla came with the wonderful price of free if you own the game. So they gave it to people, which is nice. It seems to pack a ton of voice acting, which is the way they deliver it is irritating, but it's nice that the value is there. But I'm kind of upset that they've locked what appears to be a story that a God of War fan is going to want to see. Relevant Kratos lore behind a not very good roguelike mode. I don't think Valhalla is very good. So that's a thing. For multiple reasons. One of them being the extra weapon that you get towards the end of the game. Dave Mack, every day you're on League of Legends. Yeah, Valhalla, I feel like I need to play it because I really like God of War as a series from start to finish. And I want to know what's waiting around the corner, what it's going to... like the story that's going to unfold as I progress through it, but I do not enjoy it. And that's weird because I really like the combat in God of War. But Valhalla, just, it feels more nasty because it strips away so much to make itself a roguelike. Yeah, I'm on Twitch. I'm everywhere. Episode 13, Dave Mack is also on Twitch. Dave Mack is also everywhere. It is actually, those of you that are Twitch users... Oh, I don't want to split things up and send you over there. You go wherever you want, wherever's good for you. This particular show is the same on both platforms. So you just have to pick who you want to talk to. Tony. Why you have that weird game in the background? What? Don't understand the question. Dave will probably be here as well, episode 13, don't you worry. Twitch will allow you to assassinate me and do jump scares and things like that in the near future. Dave, why is it better over there? So Dave Max says it's better over on Twitch. Why do you prefer it as a platform, if you do indeed prefer it as a platform? Because this is all relevant to me. Is it just because episode 13 is not there? Are you just getting a bit of peace and quiet? That was my take on Valhalla anyway. Have any of you got anything to say about God of War Valhalla? Alex, your question, you asked about the devs direct, didn't you? Alex, please repeat it because I can't scroll up fast enough. There's lots going on. Repeat it and I will get to it. But the Xbox developer direct is like one of the main topics that we've got today, so it will get covered as we go. Oh, you just like being over there to piss everyone off on YouTube? Good. I think they're quite happy though. Tony, you're waiting for Valhalla to go on PC, and when do you reckon that'll be? If you had to guess, a release date for Valhalla on PC, looking at what Sony have done so far and what it looks like they're doing going forwards, how long do you think you'll be waiting? Pete, you joined Twitch, and the fuckers now send you endless spam. You fell for my trap. No, you didn't. And that is fine, Alex. Indianapolis Jones, indeed. We'll get there, we'll get there. Had to unsubscribe to everything. That works. You can also just, like, you know, you can handle it, Pete. You know what to do. End of the year. You think you're getting Ragnarok at the end of this year? I don't know about that. That would be possible, maybe. But you haven't got Ghost of Tsushima yet. So we'll see. We'll see. Ibuprofen, yep. Lots of drug talk. God of War Ragnarok will come out this year on PC, especially if Sony are going to have a quiet year. They'll probably have a big PC port year for Sony. I don't know, Connor. Maybe. There's not, there's nothing about that game that would make it difficult to put on PC. As far as I can see. And obviously I'm not inside, not an expert. I haven't done any of the engineering on it, but it's very much about when they think they'll be able to maximize their monies. And I'm not sure that game has been through its entire sales life cycle on the PlayStation yet. But by the end of the year, it probably will have done. So yeah, maybe. I do think they use the PC releases as a bit of a marketing beat to try and push sequels. So they might hold it back a bit, but we'll see. Either way, it's not as good as Horizon Forbidden West that you're going to get much sooner, in my opinion. You would put ice on your face, but it's too cold. Your face is too cold for ice. That's impressive. Well done. Right. Let's talk about what else we've been playing. So, Dave mentioned League of Legends. We played League of Legends on Tuesday for 5 hours. And in a quite unbelievable turn of events, we didn't win any. It was a freaking disaster. How does that happen? How can you play 10 games in a row and not win a single one? You can literally just queue and walk away from your PC, and you'd probably end up with a better record than we did. So that was a cursed beginning. I'm going to find it. But League of Legends came out in about 2004, I think, and has had a massive audience and following for the entirety of its life. So at the point that we're going in, people know how to play that thing. And fair to say that we didn't particularly. But we had Gamsley there coaching us. See, Dave is adamant that the game sucks ass. And that's a shame because I'm going to make him play it again. I can't make him play it again. We are probably going to play that every couple of weeks for a little while until we conquer the world. I can't find my own damn stream just to play it in the background. League of Legends. I've streamed a lot lately, you know. I've streamed a lot lately. What a lucky bunch of people.
Like actual.
Can't really pretend that you are.
Let's go.
Look, don't want to hear me. So here is League of Legends in the background just while we talk about it. Dave, do you reckon that there's a possibility that you would like a different MOBA And I'm not calling you mother bastard. I mean actually the genre of game. Do you reckon the other ones, Smite, Paragon, Dota, Hearthstone, anything like that, like there's potential in this genre for you and you just don't like League of Legends? Or is there something about like the overall structure that you hate? Because I will say having to click to move everywhere is jarring after playing games with nicer control schemes. Is Dave daring to jump back into League? It's a good question. The vibe that I get from him, without him saying it directly, no, he did say it directly, the impression that I get from Dave is that he's never going to install League of Legends again, or touch it, or allow it to haunt his dreams. Tony, you're listening through your Odyssey headset, and I sound like I'm whispering in your ear. Tony, you bad boy. That's outrageous. Why did I read that? Learn to say no. Don't have to do everything Tony said just because he got me some rum. Which he did, by the way. This bottle is delightful and it's straight from Tony. I'm sending it over. No, we don't need to clip that. Replicant, you're going to join in next time. That's fantastic. As you know, I don't get along with other people. So having people from here come along and join is actually awesome. League of Legends, so on the surface, you're right-clicking to move everywhere, which is kind of a bad start. Same reason I prefer to play Diablo on a controller. Like, click to move is not my jam, but I'll accept it. On the surface, it is spawned from the Warcraft mod, and it's got quite an appealing like array of skills and characters and matchup and structure going to it. But whereas it looks relatively accessible, you listen to someone like Gamsley talk, who actually knows the game and knows the meta, and it is so fleshed out and established that it definitely feels like you need to know a lot more than what there is to know about the game. You need to know about the strategies that have evolved over time if you want to have a chance in this, rather than just understanding the core mechanics. And that makes it really difficult for new people to get anywhere near. Why are we clipping? You missed something. Oh, clipping like clip. I thought you meant the audio was clipping or something terrible like that. Gansley gets paid to say that shit. He probably should, but I don't pay him. I had my tire explode yesterday. That took all of my capture card funds away. So Gamsley's definitely not getting paid for his coaching, but he was a very patient and good coach. Why is my video quality so high on Twitch? I don't know, Ali, but I'm glad that it is. I do push as high as Twitch will allow at the moment, although that's going to change soon as well. Just buy a new one, Tony. What's he got to buy? He was about to put the cooking oil on the fridge. Don't do it, Isla. Tony, we're going to need to clean out and uninstall your whole PC to clean that League of Legends out of it. No, Tony, because you're playing next time as well. Don't think you're just going to get out of it after one playthrough. Twitch is the same, Tony. It's literally the same going out to both at the moment. Actually, YouTube, in theory, YouTube should be the higher quality because that's a better codec. But YouTube crushes... YouTube at 1080p crushes it to worse than Twitch, I think. So, yeah, let's have a look and see. You tell me which is better. Twitch looking good is a surprise. Speaking of, and this is a wild tangent from the games, but in NVIDIA's CES, Consumer Electronics Show presentation, they announced some new Twitch features, Twitch encoding features, which Chronic told me about. Actually, Chronic UK messaged me to say that this was a thing. So I have immediately signed up for beta access to that. But assuming that I get in the near future, which, you know, with my 3 followers, they're bound to select me to be on it. What's muted? What's muted? Your ear died. Oh, yeah, that was close. With Twitch inevitably selecting me for the beta, we'll get like AV1 encoding and hopefully all kinds of transcoding on the card end of it. New features to make Twitch look its best, and I will jump straight on that and do my best, because I always do my best to make things look nice. Replicant, you streamed for the first time ever today. Where to? Replicant, please tell us all about it. What did you stream? Where did you stream it? Why did you stream it? Why did you not tell me about it beforehand? Because onto the Game on Asa Disco, into the streaming lounge in there. I didn't notice, or I would have come to check how that was going, but what were you streaming? A Warcraft dungeon. He didn't stream Hunt Showdown. Connor, you need to ask for that at more appropriate times when we're actually available to play it. Because right now I'm doing this show thing, so I can't jump on Hunt Showdown. And Tony, you need to keep reminding me about Overwatch. I'm actually going to install that on the Xbox, I think. You can't stream from Xbox to Discord. I thought you could stream from Xbox to Discord as well. Thought it was a feature. You watched Tony stream Harry Potter the other night. So have you lot been secretly using the streaming lounge thing that I set up in the Discord without me knowing? Like, that's the purpose of it. You're allowed to go in there and use it, but I didn't know that this was happening. Discord is only 720p 30. It shouldn't be. I'll check that. I don't think I've put any restriction on it, but because the server has enough boosts to let you go higher. But Discord on Xbox does have a stream option. Well, fair enough. I can't stream to Discord because I'm already using all of my computers to stream to other platforms, but you get a Discord every time when you play Overwatch 2 once you get it to it. That's exciting, Tony. I will try and catch those. Also, if I'm playing with you, I might even be able to incorporate that somewhere. Anyway, that was League of Legends. It went really badly. We lost 10 games in a row. About 4.5 hours in, when in theory... No, I'm not saying you'd be an expert in 4.5 hours, but in theory, you'd at least have the controls down and be pretty competent. Gamsley set up an easy kill for me. Enemy running away. Slither of health. Just needed to hit them with anything. And I was playing this cool dragon character, so I attempted to fly towards them and got my character stuck on a tower and got murdered. That's how badly League of Legends went. That was the low point of the whole thing for me, but not by a big distance. Most of it was at that kind of standard. Tony can teach you Overwatch 2. Tony, is there a lot to learn on Overwatch 2? Typically, there's only like one objective at a time, isn't there? You just need to broadly know the characters and call out. But yes, Dave Mac, Tony is desperate to find enough people for us to get an Overwatch 2 team together. With me being the captain, obviously. Replicant has Overwatch 2 installed. Tony, I'm beginning to think you haven't even started. Like, you've not been trying to recruit people, because a brief mere mention of it, it turns out there's like 100 people here just dying to join the team. So it could have happened months ago if you'd only asked. Painful Discourse, welcome by the way. Streaming from Xbox directly is ass, unfortunately. So that's partly true wherever you stream though, because the encoding capabilities are either bad or not used. I don't know whether you blame Microsoft or AMD for that, but if you stream onto Twitch from the Xbox, it does 30 frames per second as well, which is kind of nasty. But yeah, palatable kind of for some games. But Connor promised to play with you. We've got loads of people, Tony. Oh, we might even, do you know what? We might shoehorn some Overwatch in on Sunday if we've got a team of 5 for it. I think that could be a fun Sunday one, because 5's quite a lot of people. Tony only plays Overwatch for the character models. They're generally quite reserved character models on Overwatch, right? I think. I know it's got like a massive, what would you call it? Adult cosplay, a massive adult cosplay scene, fan service scene. But I don't think the game is like particularly sexualized as far as I can remember. Where should you download it? Series X or PS5? I don't think it matters. I think it's crossplay. We'll probably talk on Discord, so probably will be easier to sort out invites if you go Xbox, if it's much of a muchness to you. You've streamed from Xbox to Twitch. It's good for party chat and saves the recording. Twitch doesn't save a recording for long, but yeah, if you want it for a little bit, you sure can. Crossplay on everything. Means I need to decide whether I go console and limit myself to a controller or go PC. But doesn't Overwatch have some weird matchmaking where it will like adjust the way the game plays if there's keyboard and mouse people present? That's enough League of Legends. Wow. 2 weeks on Twitch unless you pay, and then it's 3 months, yes. Tony only likes Overwatch because they're not safe for work. Pictures on the internet. But that's a reason to like the internet, not the game. Don't need to play it to Google. Just need a Blizzard account for the matchmaking. Okay, in that case, Dave, yeah, play it on whichever one you like the controller for. PlayStation or Xbox. And we'll talk on Discord, so it won't make a difference in that sense. It's only quick play when you play PC players, not competing! So we don't need to worry about it, so I can play wherever I want. Okay. Tony has the new mods. Right, that was League of Legends anyway. I actually, I like games. I really like multiplayer games, and I really have an aversion to playing multiplayer games because the whole stranger danger. So typically, if a bunch of you talk about a game that you're willing to play in multiplayer, I will usually be very willing to give it a go. And League of Legends is like that. So Gamzy wants to play it more. If we can get people in it, I'm going to keep playing it a bit. That is true of so many games. The other one that I tried this week, maintaining my PC overly hardcore kind of presence for the week, was World of Warcraft. I played twice. World of Warcraft Retail, so the Dragonflight expansion, but new characters, so I didn't actually touch the proper expansion content. How many of you, this is like a hands up or own up, confess your sins kind of thing, how many of you have played World of Warcraft at some point in its like 20-year history? I'm going to put League of Legends back on. No, League of Legends can go for a minute because I'm talking about Warcraft now. You're cooking an egg in your square frying pan. Careful. Don't hurt yourself on the corners. That's a thing that's possible. Which one shall I do? I'll do this one. Here's Warcraft Demon Hunting. This pain, how's it going? Tom, your housemate has a square frying pan for eggs too. Well, you be careful of the corners as well. Connor, you played a free trial years ago. The free trial for Warcraft, like these days, actually I don't know how far it goes, but it lasts forever. You can play the base content up to level, it used to be level 60, but the leveling structure changed completely, so I don't know how far it lets you go now. You can play and play and play. I don't actually know what the limitations are. It's called World of Weirdos. Oh, Dave Mac. I was playing it and I am a weirdo, so you could be right. Because you have never played it. You played RuneScape back in the day. So, it's alright. But what I wanted to get into was the evolution of the Horde versus Alliance conflict over time. I was hoping there'll be some Warcraft people here, so you could tell me which is the faction of choice. Because it's supposed to be... some people say it's supposed to be divisive. I've heard very few people ever choose Alliance, but that's because they're wrong. So, do we have any people that are invested in that discussion whatsoever? Free trial is up to level 20 now, you just had a look. Well, that won't take very long at all, will it? That's a lot more limiting than it used to be. Connor, you're not much of a fan of MMOs. You get tired of grindy, looty type stuff. Fair. Dr. Scotsy, 100% Horde. You have to follow it up with telling me when you played it, though. You played it heavily for about 3 years. What period of time? Painful Discourse, you played a lot of Warcraft 1 and 2. It counts as the real Warcraft games. I mean, it's sad that you missed 3, which was the one that was brilliant. Warcraft 3 was peak Warcraft. Tamago pan. Oh, okay. You're talking about square egg pans. So, when I started World of Warcraft, multiple times, but from I did the alpha, I did the beta, I did the launch. But when I actually started was towards the tail end of the first expansion pack, the Burning Crusade. And of course I picked Horde, because in those days, it was a no-brainer. The Alliance was dweeby 12-year-old paladins, the people that wanted to play the noble American hero, all choosing little nerdy paladins. And the Horde was for grown-ups that wanted to make more exciting characters that had more depth to them. So the correct answer was Horde back in those days. But I just, when I was playing it, not this stream that's on screen at the moment, but the one a couple of days before, I couldn't help but notice that the Horde is shit now. So the impression that I got is the Horde leanings, they were, I think, stronger than Blizzard anticipated, and they grew stronger and stronger over time. It became normal for people to yell for the Horde. Not normal to yell for the Horde, but amongst the Warcraft fans, the Horde community was much stronger than the Alliance community, numerically and in terms of passion. But Blizzard they've lent into it all wrong, and they've made the Horde really boring. So I was playing, and some Orc captain lady was running up yelling lines like, "The Horde leaves no man behind," and shit like that. And it's like, yeah, they do. Yell blood and thunder and like kill each other. You're supposed to be savage. So I think that they've turned the Horde into the dweeby 12-year-old paladins of old. I think they role swapped, because now you've got the Horde being like sanctimoniously good in all circumstances, always doing what's right for the planet, and then you've got the Alliance where it's all like betrayal and political movements and bitterness, and the Horde were the best. And I haven't played the current expansion, and I haven't played the previous one, so I don't know, maybe Sylvanas turned things around and made the Horde interesting again. But I can't help but think that as of the Jaina expansion, the Jaina Proudmoore expansion, the Alliance have just had the better stories. More interesting characters. And I don't want the Horde to say we leave no one behind. Anyway, that's not much of a rant, because, you know, it's Warcraft stuff, and the whole thing is very formulaic treadmill roller coaster mode for most of the game anyway. Back in the day, most servers were higher Alliance. That's what I mean, Dr. Scott C. In the day, it probably was, but over time, the Horde community was stronger in terms of numbers and passion. It just became a thing that they were much louder about. And now, like, almost every server is Horde dominated. It's funny that you say Argent Dawn is 80% Alliance, but I think that's pretty rare. The best raiding guilds are Horde. Everyone is Horde. So Alliance is essentially the world of today. No, not really, because it's still like high fantasy politics. But it's like, they at least try. They try to tell stories for the Alliance, whereas the Horde have that, like, I don't know, very shallow storytelling now. I hope that I'm wrong. I hope if I play it more, I'll find that actually there is some complexity on the Horde side as well. But square plates, you should see square bowls, Pete. They're fine. They work. Bit awkward for the dishwasher. There's a truce just now in the lore. Yeah, there is a truce in the lore, I think. You can still do battlegrounds and stuff though, can't you? But you've still got lots of death and betrayal on the Alliance side. Lots of bitterness, and like the fragility of their alliance, of the truce, is probably more on that side. But I don't know. Like I say, I've not seen Sylvanas' arc through, so maybe things get more interesting. It is, I think, a flaw in Warcraft that it is all character driven like that anyway. Who gives a shit who my character is? It's all about the heroes and the stories there. But you won't judge Horde on Exile Reach. No, I get that, but Exile Reach really lent into the elements that I'm talking about not liking. Like, it really lent into the Horde being lame. So, you've quit Baldur's Gate 3 for now. You're not going to finish it. I'm not going to ask why. But that is interesting. We've just got onto Act 3. The Cursed Act. Hopefully it doesn't give us reason to quit. I can't see that happening, but I will unmute you as soon as we're done here. Jordan, thank you for letting me know. Anyway, my plan for World of Warcraft is probably... I might make a Zandalari Paladin and run around for a bit. And I might play a bit of Alliance as well. Or I might not touch it at all. What about Final Fantasy? Now that that's coming onto Xbox and is cross-platform between PC, PlayStation and Xbox, does that have more of an audience here? Are any of you already playing or planning to play that one? It's a you problem. Skill issue. Oh, okay. Most of the game has been fairly breezy recently, so I think we'll get through it. I should do some dungeons. Replicant, you know that I can't. I can't without people. They are like the best part of Warcraft. So I would like to do the dungeons. I would like to. But no, can't stand the people. Maybe if I was doing it on stream and I just ignored everybody that was in the group, then I could probably heal through a dungeon. Maybe. There's a Wrath dungeon event on this week. I don't want to do ones that I remember. I want to run through the expansion that I missed, really. Anyway, I haven't given up on it. Warcraft is still there in the background. It's still an itch. It still wants me to play it. Vicky, you play both World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy XIV. How? How do you have time to play both? That's wild. Warcraft does have... like, I appreciate the design philosophy that they've put forward recently, which is all about valuing players' time. I want them to value players' time. I would like to play games that do that, because MMOs certainly don't traditionally necessarily do that. Let's bring up a little bit more. Stupid orcs. Look how lame they are. Stupid orcs. Orcs used to be the best. They're supposed to be the best. Everyone do the tutorial for Overwatch 2 so you're ready to play. Do you have to do the tutorial for that if you played Overwatch 1? Tony, put a reminder for me on the Discord as well. Say we're playing Overwatch 2 on Sunday. Tag me in it. Tag everyone in it. We'll make it happen. See, I thought maybe the Xbox release of Final Fantasy would spur a bunch of you to be interested in it, to give it a go and see what's happening. Maybe this one's a dead end, or maybe I should just get on with it and do some dungeons. Right, that's enough about games. If any of you have been playing any particular things that you want spoken about, do keep shouting them out, because I like games. That's my favourite. My favourite part of gaming discourse is when we talk about games. Which is so rare. Which is what I said on Twitter this week. Like, games are so interesting and so cool, and there's always so much going on that's exciting. And somehow, in that environment, the conversations are endlessly boring. Like, Twitter specifically, but probably other corners of the internet as well. How does it happen? How can you make gaming discussions boring? It's the best freaking thing. There's so much that's exciting. And none of it is how much profit a company has made. Oh well. Warzone. No, not Warzone. Don't make me, Dave Mack. You know I can't see camouflage. Game is the worst. I don't believe you, Patrick. I think, much like when I'm playing Warcraft and I talk about it being a vocal minority, I think Twitter just floats dickheads. Largely. And actually, they represent a really, really, really small portion of the player base. It's probably, even within Twitter, there's probably loads of decent people, but Twitter doesn't care about what they're saying. So that's why I am resolved to being more of a dickhead in 2024. I'm going to practice my dickheadery. And I'm not. Can't do that. Or by gamers he just meant Tony. I like games aside from stealth, Metroidvanias, puzzles, walking sims, and Souls. Like, no, so Painful Discourse, I'm going to go through that because that's interesting. Stealth, I'm not convinced that games do it well at the moment. I like the concept well enough, but I don't like the Frogger dodging cone vision mechanics of it, or the get invisible in the grass. Problem with stealth is I'm brilliant at it in real life, which means games don't really pull it off that well. Metroidvanias, case by case, but the core concept is that you're just repeating yourself, going over the same areas again and again. Very efficient as a design mechanic in terms of like art use and recycling, but not my favorite design choice. But I wouldn't spit on a game for being a Metroidvania, and I would be happy to discuss the mechanics of a Metroidvania more than the profits that they make and the exclusivity of said games. Puzzles I like just fine, but as streaming person, there's some pressure to puzzles. There's some pressure to solving a puzzle while people are watching, and I'm not on board with it. So puzzles make me panic live on air. Walking sims I'm happy with. We'll talk more about that actually, because we're going to talk Hellblade, which isn't a walking sim, but we're going to talk more about that kind of delivery of game in a little bit later, so I won't address that one. And what was the last one? Souls-likes, I like Souls-likes. Those are good. I've not played enough of them, but I was saying earlier I want to play Lies of P. It seems really good. I liked Demon Souls. I liked but didn't finish Elden Ring. Souls-likes are cool. So, and again, all of these genres of game that you've spoken about, I could happily talk about those, no problem, for ages, over and above all of the conversations that you see elsewhere. So, pish posh indeed, Painful Discourse. Pish posh. Replicant, you're not a fan of puzzle games and you're awful at Tetris. Do you consider Tetris a puzzle game? That's obviously applying its own pressure to it as you go. I get that it's a puzzle game in the sense of like a jigsaw puzzle. Perhaps the epitome of a puzzle game, but I don't want to be puzzled live. I don't want it. Puzzle games are an opportunity to look stupid when you can't solve them, so they get frustrating real quick. You saw a Colt Eastwood video where he said he hopes that Hellblade 2 is 24 frames per second. Do you know the Order 1866 or whatever it was, 1886, 1866? I can't remember what year was the werewolves, but Ready at Dawn wanted that game to be 24 frames per second because of the whole filmic thing. They want to match up to like the Hollywood presentation and make it look like a film, and the frame rate is a key part of a lot of that, the frame rate and post-processing, but they came to the conclusion that you could not make it playable at 24 frames per second. It was horrific. Despite capturing that cinematic look, it just didn't work as a game. So I'll be surprised if anything has changed on that front. Hellblade 2, I suspect they'll settle on 30 as well. You're playing Stardew? Good. Are you still enjoying Stardew, or were you ever enjoying Stardew? You hope the Hellblade is 5 frames per second. Yeah. There's some merit to the 24 frames per second conversation. If you did want it to look filmic, but it doesn't work for games. They can't do that. You frog the question. I'm asking if you are enjoying Stardew Valley. Is it good? Are you having fun with the game? Or is it a chore that you're playing through out of necessity or compulsion? You don't think technology is there yet? We've got the technology to do 24 frames per second. No problem. The Switch can do 24 frames per second, right? Just fine. It can't be 24 and feel good to play as things are today. I'm not sure there is a technology solution to that problem. Because in films, they can take a lot of care over the camera work and panning speed and things like that. And games give the player too much control. You could probably do like a like an old like the FMV style games where it's just playing clips and letting you make decisions, where the player does not control that camera at all. You could probably make that work at a horrible frame rate, but I don't think technology will solve the problem for games to make that playable, if that makes sense. Isla, that sounds like a wonderful idea. Put it everywhere. Wii U was pretty terrible, was it? I had a Wii U. Yeah, it was pretty terrible. We're going to make a new no medical back and forth rule, because everyone cares too much, and suddenly it's all like doctors everywhere. That's not true. Obviously people can talk about things they need to talk about, but you're playing Hogwarts Legacy while listening along. You're loving Hogwarts Legacy. It's on my list. I do intend to play it. I do not like Harry Potter. I do not like Harry Potter as an IP, setting aside all the J.K. Rowling stuff, and I do think she's a bit of a dick. I will play Harry Potter at some point because the game looks good. Maybe have all the cutscenes at 24 and the gameplay can be higher. Possibly, Patrick, but people do... Like, that could work, but people do notice when a frame rate shifts. And that's why when you go from 60 to 30, it's so much more noticeable than if you like adjust to it. So it depends on how they cut it up, I guess. You're allergic to yourself. Yeah, that makes sense. Shouldn't make sense, but it does. Are you weird for enjoying Lost Ark? Dave Mac, I didn't know you were playing Lost Ark. Why are you keeping these things a secret? My 15-year-old... Is he 15? What's the year now? Yeah, he's 15. My 15-year-old was playing that a bunch over the Christmas holidays. He's moved on to Path of Exile now, but he played it a lot. And I look at it and it looks gorgeous. Like, Lost Ark looks really, really good as an action RPG. But then he died and it's like, do you want to pay some money to stand up again? Nope. Out of that one straight away. Which is a shame, because it looks nice. Harry Potter IP was just a tad too young for you. Little brother, sister stuff. Yeah, Tom, it shouldn't have been, though, because it lasted as a whole generation grew up. But it was bollocks. We've done the Chocolate Frogs talk before. I'm not going to do it again. Arkham Collection for $9 on Xbox. Is it worth it for the 3 games? If you've never played on Painful Discourse, yeah. There's no good enhancements to make them play nice on current hardware. And they are pretty rough as ports go. So if you've got the option of just playing on PC, you're probably better off. But you can't get that enhanced edition on PC. You're playing the originals, which makes it really difficult to pick a best version of the Arkham games to go back to. Dave, mate, you're definitely going to be getting Path of Exile 2. Good shout. Path of Exile also looks really good. Watch out for Radioactive Man. That's good advice. Episode 13. I don't understand it, but I'm going to take it on board. Batman Origins for $3 on Steam. I reckon Batman Origins would probably be my favourite of them, being more punchy and less stealthy, but you know, they're on the backlog. Path of Exile looks much better than Diablo 4. Yeah, but Diablo 4's getting that ray tracing. It's gonna be reflections everywhere and nice shadows. I didn't see the queue. I didn't see the queue, no. No. Praise you. I can't. I'm assuming this is a Simpsons reference from that Radioactive Man, but Diablo 4's end game needs love, and it's far too grindy. So I don't necessarily care. I know a lot of people do, and I'm not so selfish to say that it doesn't matter, but for me, I liked Diablo 3 a lot. I played Diablo 3 a lot. I did not play Diablo 3 end game. I can just repeat the journey over and over and build the characters up to that point. End game is kind of by definition repetitive grind. Like, that's how it works. That's where the pacing and the content flip in terms of the core of how it works and how much time you're supposed to invest doing the same thing over and over. So I can do without endgame. I don't really care. Like, games, action RPGs don't need an end game for me to find value in them. I know that Blizzard could never get away with that on Diablo because the previous ones have all had an end game and that expectation is there. But if they told me like you finish the campaign and then you're done, I'd be like, yeah, cool, that's fine. I'm going to finish the campaign and then I'm done. And if they tell me there's a massive end game, I'm still going to be like, yeah, I'm going to finish the campaign and then I'm done. Stick your end game up your ass. That's just me though. And who knows? Every looter is grindy in the end game. That is how they work, Patrick, and that is why I don't stick around for the end game. Usually. Not like good old Asheron's Call 2. That was very grindy. Very much had an end game like that. Loved it. Diablo 3's end game took like a year plus to be good. That's fair enough, Scott C. Like, there's a fair chance that 4 will get better over time. It's the end game that they're constantly working on at the moment. Yeah, no. I don't know. I don't know what it's going to take for 4 to be really enticing for me. I'm going to play it again when this ray tracing patch comes out, just to go, oh, that's pretty. I like the hardcore modes in Diablo, so there's a fair chance that I'll do some death runs on it. And I'll probably play it with my wife at some point as well, because it should be fun like that, but I don't care for the end game. We are game on Pete, what? Cute. Awesome. So let's talk about, what are we talking about right now? Does anybody know? I don't know. There were some games and stuff. Ever thought about WoW hardcore? Yes, Replicant, but that's too big a game. That's too big a game. I have thought about playing WoW hardcore. So for those that don't know, a hardcore mode in a game like that, sometimes known as an Iron Man mode, when you die, you're dead. No respawning, no carrying on. So you make a character, you play it through high risk, high stakes. Squeaky bum time, as Alex Ferguson would say. You cannot afford any mistakes, because if you make those mistakes, that character's lost forever. All your progress, all your time invested, all of your loot splatted. Diablo supports it. World of Warcraft had a kind of underground community that were doing it via a mod and a kind of honor system whereby they were just playing the game and this mod would announce to the server if you died and you'd be expected not to play that character anymore. Blizzard formalized it and put it in as part of World of Warcraft Classic, so not the current version, so people can do that to their heart's content officially and lose those characters forever. But Warcraft is huge as a game. It's a lot to chew on, and it includes player versus player and all that kind of stuff, but there's interest in it, but I can't imagine getting out of Taran Mill in that environment. We should all play RuneScape. It's probably great, Connor, but no, too far off. I would be very happy to find more games like this that lots of us can play together, though. Would be cool. You died level 7 in hardcore. Well, that's, yeah. And was it another player that killed you, I'm assuming? Because that's brutal, right? How's anyone going to get anywhere apart from the first player to do it? Tony, you need another Seagate card for your Series X. Well, you can install it on the PlayStation. I'm assuming you're talking Overwatch. Install it wherever you want. Painful discourse. Why are people so angry that Xbox will publish on other platforms? Do you know what? I forgot this as a topic. Let's do this before we get onto the exciting bit, hey? A wolf killed you. Oh, for shame. For shame. Fair enough. What race were you? Was this? The wolves will be on the way to Orgrimmar, maybe. Never mind. And was that your one and only hardcore attempt, Replicant? This OST goes hard. Glad you're enjoying it, Tony. Do you know what game it's from? Connor. Yeah, the RuneScape thing. Right. So, let's talk about the Xbox thing, right? I didn't actually have this down as a topic because I forgot about it. That's just it. But we were talking about it a little bit on our Discord today. Not directly. We were indirectly laughing about it on the Discord today. But there have been rumours, strong rumours, that Hi-Fi Rush is coming out to Switch, possibly maybe PlayStation, but Switch is the stronger rumour. and that Sea of Thieves is going multi-platform to PlayStation and Switch. OST is not the Ascent. Just those two games, not the whole Microsoft catalog or anything like that. For the time being, at least, just Hi-Fi Rush and Sea of Thieves are the ones that are rumored. And there are some wider rumors that there are other games that have been worked onto other platforms that we may hear about in future, but definitely not like a whole slate or anything like that. And it has upset some people. The OST is not a Sonic game. It is not the Ascent. So tell me, everybody, do you have strong feelings about games going to other platforms? Let's start off with the scenario that people are speculating, that it is specifically Hi-Fi Rush and Sea of Thieves. So a game from 2017, 2018. When did Sea of Thieves come out? And a game from last year, like start of last year, Hi-Fi Rush. Wasn't Immortality the game that ended up going to PlayStation? No, Immortality wasn't Microsoft published. It was on Game Pass, but I don't think Microsoft had any hand in it. Patrick has very strong feelings. Describe your feelings to me. I need to know. Sea of Thieves is on season 10 now. Patrick's strong feeling is one of not caring at all. Yeah, fair enough. Kratos, welcome. You do indeed see Half-Life in the background. Where is Half-Life 3? Yeah. Yeah. If the rumors are true, it's the best idea Xbox has had for a while. So Isla has no strong feelings one way or the other, and then spams my good lol emoji. Yes, thank you for that. Knew those badges existed for a reason. No, nobody cares. If it starts at 1, they'll go more. Personally, I think it reduces the reason to buy the original console. See, I part agree with you, Wayne, but not that last part. It does reduce the reason to get a console. Putting the games on the PC also reduces the reasons to get a console. This is an undeniable truth. That this is part of the, like, something they have to weigh up in their decision, wherever they're going to put the games. If you put them somewhere other than an Xbox, then you are, by definition, reducing people's reasons to get an Xbox. Agree with you on that. Don't agree that it means that Xbox is going away anywhere. I'm not on Top Chat. I'm just trying to weave this conversation and hold it together a little bit rather than going too far, of course. If you're going to port a game, port it to a platform with a bigger user base. All of them. Oh, Tom. Yeah, basically. Can't argue with numbers like that. Painful Discourse, you only think that Microsoft should do is state that they would make an Xbox console and people would chill. Yeah, I don't actually get why people think that it means they're going to stop making the console. Froggy T White, is this the rumored man? No, this is Half-Life. This is Half-Life, where I live, for the duration of this show. So 13, you love frogs. I'm glad. Froggy T Right, you might want to watch yourself. Episode 13 is on the prowl. JJ, you have no issue with smaller titles or guest games going multi-platform, but at least to everyone questioning where Xbox games will end up. This is a valid, part valid thing that's arising out of it. There are a lot of people saying that Microsoft needs to just damn well tell us what's going on, be clear in their communications so that we understand. I agree with that. It would suck for people to throw 500 quid or whatever, 400 quid at a console on the false pretense that it's the only way to play a particular game. False pretenses are bad. Microsoft should try and avoid those. But if you scrape that away and just pretend that the messaging was really clear, and this is a difficult thing for Microsoft, because if you are Microsoft and your plan is to release everything everywhere, like just hypothetically, if that's what they wanted to do, they wanted to ditch the traditional console model and just be everywhere. Messaging is tricky because, as we've seen this week, their core audience don't like that as a plan. So, do I think the Xbox needs some level of console exclusives to encourage platform health? Platform health is the interesting part of that sentence, because the platform isn't necessarily the console. Do they need exclusives? within like the Game Pass platform, the Xbox ecosystem. It's tricky because you have all of these questions around how content is going to be purchased and consumed and where that money comes in and out. And that's quite fluid at the moment. So, like, if they put their games everywhere and they don't manage to establish a platform, and platform being key, be it the traditional walled garden console ecosystem or a massive subscription service, if they put games everywhere and they don't manage to establish a platform, then the whole model of developing games is kind of tipped on its head. They become essentially an EA that has to take each game as a project that needs to directly make its money back. So exclusives hold weight in that conversation. I'm cautiously not saying console exclusives, but content that is only in one subscription service, they need something to float. To stay competitive as a platform holder, they need to give people reasons to be on their platform. Yes, they do. Are people actually forgetting that PlayStation, Nintendo, and Xboxes are businesses first? They are indeed, Tony. TJI, what's good? What's the conversation so far? We've talked about loads of games and stuff. Dave Mack is fed up because no, he's just going to bed. Good night, Dave Mack. Have a good one. Switch is weak source. So episode 13, that's a relevant point. When you talk about where these games are going, if you are talking about putting things on a platform that lowers the lowest common denominator in terms of development, that hurts everybody. Right, if they are lowering the floor for a particular game, for a particular project. And that is case by case, because some games are fine on a Switch and some are absolutely not. None of us want to see games get reduced in quality because of Microsoft's commercial ambitions. That's not okay. But also not really what's happening, I don't think. Are people actually forgetting? No, done that one. So, I mean, I don't typically like the concept of platform exclusives as a driving force for consoles in the first place. I'm still bitter that I had to have a PlayStation 4 and an Xbox One to play all the games that I wanted to, when both bits of hardware were completely redundant to me in terms of like the hardware itself. I was buying significantly pricey hardware that did nothing for me, like nothing for me as hardware, because it gave me access to exclusives. And there are clear downsides for me as a consumer, but there are clear upsides as well, because without the companies wanting to incentivize my purchase in that way, they might not have funded those games and they might not have existed. So it's tricky in that sense. Like, there are some advantages for the end user to see these companies have motive to invest money into making these games. Exclusives are a weird one in that sense. I'm speaking complete nonsense and being really unclear in what I'm saying here. My perspective has changed a little bit on exclusives. I used to be fairly clear cut that exclusives in the console space aren't particularly good for us as end users. We don't really benefit from that model. But I like my virtual reality, and within the virtual reality space, I become a complete hypocrite, because I am very happy to see anybody invest any money into that space at all for whatever motive they've got. A lot of things, my perspective shifts when it goes into that more strained environment. I like that Facebook, Meta, whatever you want to call them, fund exclusives for the Oculus platform, because if they didn't, there would be no big budget games on that platform. So I try and avoid painting anything in a really broad stroke, because there's always nuance, there's always exceptions, there's always like reasons that things can be good and bad. In the console space, specifically Microsoft bringing those games to other consoles, I don't really see a downside at all. Apple Vision can get in the sea. Yeah, I wonder if it is waterproof, I don't know. Do Microsoft have more first-party games in their lineup than Sony in 2024? Yes, they do. We'll talk about Developer Direct after this little bit of conversation. Episode 13, you want a console. So consoles are not going away until they're irrelevant. Like, until people don't want them. Microsoft are not going to stop making consoles. Because the console is a very particular, very in-demand on-ramp into their ecosystem. Microsoft can release every single game they ever make from now on, across every platform on day one, and they will still have reason to make consoles. The world is shifting in terms of the way that we consume games, and consoles might naturally decline as people find other ways to play games, but they are not going to decline as a result of Microsoft not wanting to do them anymore. So yes, feel warm and safe, episode 13. Microsoft still make Surface hardware. And they don't need to, like Windows is available everywhere. They're not making it to sell any exclusive features. In terms of games though, like everyone that gets an Xbox is very much invested in that platform, is getting their services, is getting their games. It is one of the easiest on-ramps there. The only thing that can possibly threaten Microsoft's manufacturing of consoles at the moment is if cloud really does catch up and replace it for normal people. They're not going to stop making consoles because they're putting their games on competition platforms. They would only stop making them if the audience for consoles disappears. Gaming's not going to disappear. No, of course not. Of course not. Too many of us like it. There's too much money in it. The average consumer won't care when streaming in the inevitable future. Yeah, one day, Connor. We'll see. Streaming's not... Like, and GeForce Now is brilliant. But streaming is not a silver bullet to all of gaming's problems, or to all of the distribution problems around gaming. But what key things would I do to improve Xbox's communication to consumers? Wow, Froggy TY. Wow, Froggy TY. I'm glad I don't run Microsoft. Thing is, there's different angles to this, but I'm assuming that as Microsoft aren't being clear and upfront, as they're not being like concise with their information and they're leaving people to speculate, I'm assuming that they know that they've got news that their core audience aren't actually going to like. Because otherwise they'd surely just tell them, like, if they know what they're saying is what their audience wants to hear, then they would say it over and over again as loudly as they could. And nonetheless, I don't see how kicking that can down the road particularly helps them. So they might as well just come out and say whatever it is they're going to do. It's easy though, like the obvious answer for everyone on the end of that question is like, do you want this person to be honest to you or do you want them to lie? Of course, I'm on the end of it. I'd like them to be honest with me. Whatever it is, I want them to be truthful and clear so we know where we stand. But that's not necessarily, from their perspective, the best way to approach the situation. Lies can be pretty helpful. Episode 13, they're not going away. You'll be fine. Game Pass is Xbox, indeed. It's not the whole of Xbox. They've sort of backed off of going all in on it, but they're not going anywhere. They're not spending the money that they're spending to back out. That's the other thing though. So in some of the rants and things, I've seen people saying that like this industry, the games industry in the console space, is driven by exclusives, and therefore if Microsoft want to compete in this space, then they need exclusives, right? Which is a nice eloquent argument until you consider that Microsoft don't want to compete in that space. Nobody wants to compete in that space, and this is kind of important, right? The console space, where Sony are fighting with exclusives and Nintendo have their exclusives and Microsoft are supposed to come in and trade blows, the console space is not appetizing to big companies and is not what Microsoft are competing for. And there's a reason that Amazon don't compete in that space and Google don't compete in that space and Apple don't compete in that space, because that space is sparse and dry and limited in its future. And that's not saying that consoles are going away, episode 13, but that's saying that Microsoft are not in this to compete in the console space. Microsoft were willing to cut off the Xbox division because that's how unappealing the console space is. Microsoft stayed in gaming because their plans are broader and bigger than that. So that's not to say that they need to completely discard and spit on the console space, but you cannot base any kind of conversation or argument on the premise that Microsoft need to compete in the console space or that that's their end game, because it isn't. It really isn't. And if they cannot expand beyond that space, then they wouldn't be in gaming anymore. They would have left that key meeting that everyone talks about where Phil Spencer went in and spoke to Satya Nadella. Nadella wanted to get rid of the Xbox division, didn't see it pulling its weight, and Phil Spencer convinced him that actually this division has a future. That's what their strategic moves are playing towards, not the stuff that they didn't want to be any part of. Because of course. AJH, to be fair, they've been consistent with these games are exclusive, but it's every other week there's a rumor that Microsoft will be third party. If you were Microsoft, you would simply stop interacting or stop insinuating that their games are. The thing is, like, people are questioning things like Blade because we don't know the answer, and that's the case for lots and lots of games. We don't know the answer, and Microsoft know that people are questioning this stuff, and we at the end of it, and I'd like to know the answer, please. I can understand why they wouldn't want it and why they wouldn't want to tell you the answer. And on that one, when I talk about Microsoft not giving us a straight answer because, you know, it's not necessarily an answer that people want to hear. When you're talking about exclusivity for a game like Blade, there's going to be a set of people that don't want to hear your answer whichever way you go, right? So if you're trying to build up hype for a game, you don't put your foot forwards and say, hey, most of you can't have this. So there are like good legitimate reasons to be vague to a point. AJH, every game Microsoft release has been questioned, but they're fair questions, right? Like if you were to consider right now on Blade, because we know of Blade, how confident are you that that one's exclusive? Because you can talk about Spider-Man 3 and you can be entirely confident, right? Sony haven't really given us any reason to doubt exclusivity on any of their games. Nintendo haven't given us any reason to doubt exclusivity on any of their games. And Microsoft have left it as an open question. They have let people speculate with it. It would not be hard for Microsoft to come out and say it's exclusive. It wouldn't be hard for Microsoft to come out and say any of their games are definitely exclusive, but they never do that until real late in the day. I don't think, at this point in time, I don't think Microsoft have formally said that Indiana Jones is exclusive. We know that it is because it leaked from their court case. But they announced that game freaking ages ago. It comes out in a few months, and they haven't told us that that game is exclusive. And they know that there are open questions on that, or there were until the court case happened. Why is Sony never questioned? Because Sony don't have this broader strategy. What game has Microsoft released that has gone multiplayer? They've got Minecraft. I know Minecraft was already there, but Dungeons and Legends weren't. So they've got Minecraft Dungeons and Minecraft Legends. That's two. They exist as a publisher on those platforms. And the whole thing started, the question of exclusivity started when they were trying to acquire ZeniMax. And it started because people had fair questions. What's going to happen with Doom and the Elder Scrolls and these games that have been multi-platform for the longest time? The whole conversation started because Microsoft didn't say we're going to make them exclusive. So they've invited the questions for whatever reason, whether it was strategic, whether it was an accident, I don't know, but yeah, the Quake remasters went everywhere. At the same time, when you talk about, like, so Hi-Fi Rush is an example, that's the one that's got the strong speculation at the moment as going to Switch or whatever. We also know from the court case that Hi-Fi Rush was developed almost to completion as a multi-platform game. Alex, remind me, what was your question? I've not missed it on purpose. How's the Open Critics and Metacritics on Prince of Persia? Really high. Really high. I've not seen that many reviews, but they've been right up there in the 9s and 10s. I've not seen anything of its performance on the console, so this 4K 120 is an interesting push. No, your favourite game is the best game, Minecraft or Stardew Valley? I didn't actually see if you said you were enjoying Stardew Valley. Patrick, I'm going to scroll up and you're not going to ask one, i.e. troll. If you've asked one, then ask it again. Microsoft's going to announce a bunch of games, people get hyped, then give the bad news. I see. That's not a question, Patrick. Tony, no, you're going to confuse me and the whole show's going to derail. Quake as a game was always multi-platform. It was AJH, and that's where the questions came up around ZeniMax in the first place. And it's still, when you go back to it, the way the conversations were handled when Microsoft were getting ZeniMax and Bethesda, and they came out specifically and said we can't talk about whether we're planning to make these games exclusive because we don't own the company yet. We're not allowed to. We can't say that we're planning to make these games exclusive. And that was unprecedented in itself, because there has never been an acquisition where it was an open question on whether games would be exclusive. And it has never been true that Microsoft couldn't say what their intention was. They could have cut it off from the start and said what their intention was. We know that because they said what their intention was with Activision Blizzard before it had finalized, before it had gone through. So yeah, Patrick, it was probably to appease regulators, but it was not true. They could have told us exactly what they were doing. And that is like a self-inflicted wound. If people are going to question whether things are exclusive for the rest of the time, they invited that. And I say this as someone who doesn't care, right? I don't care if their games are exclusive or not. They're already going to PC, which is good for me. I've got a PC, I can play them wherever I want. Some on console, some on PC. If they go to PlayStation 5 as well, that's nice. I don't think it particularly hurts their future if their games are not exclusive. I don't think it hurts their grand ambition to expand as a company and platform. But we shall see. Do I want Sony to follow suit? Probably, so long as they keep investing in making games in that environment. AJ, you bought Norwegian cheese at Christmas. You think, oh, it looks nice. You just tried it. It's because, do you normally like blue cheese? Do you like old cheeses? Because they are an acquired taste anyway. It's a taste that I haven't acquired yet, but maybe when I grow up. Like cheeses, good blue cheese. I see you do normally like them. You said it right after. I mean, I'm sorry for your taste buds. I'm sorry that you thought you had a special cheese and it wasn't there. Blue cheese is so good. Some people do love it. To me, it tastes like it smells. Do you people that like blue cheese, do you like the smell of blue cheese? TJI, do I not think that it hurts the Xbox console somewhere? It definitely hurts the Xbox console. Definitely hurts the Xbox console. But also, fundamentally, Xbox's strategy of releasing games on the PC hurts the Xbox console. And you can tell me that Windows is a Microsoft platform or whatever else. It's like, yeah, kinda. They're not selling much on the Xbox store. They're releasing these games on Steam. They are hurting the console, and it's okay to hurt the console. It's okay to hurt the console. They're not hurting it to the degree that they need to kill it or anything along those lines. Puts them in a better position. It puts us in a better position. It's a mutually beneficial change. Would it also be mutually beneficial for them to bring their games to PlayStation and Switch? Nuance. There's going to be cases where it's not. Like particularly like I can't remember who was talking about Switch. It might have been episode 13. The Switch reduces the floor for development at the moment, so there are going to be cases where that would be a bad thing. Not many. And there's going to be no cases where Microsoft bringing a game to the PlayStation devalues the fact that it's in Game Pass, to me. They could put The Elder Scrolls 6 on PlayStation and it is still a massive win for Game Pass. So Switch 2 lesser, yeah, we can hope, a Replicant, we can hope, but it's Nintendo, so who knows. But I just meant generally in terms of like not talking in absolutes, there are probably some cases that would benefit from exclusivity. But TJ, you don't believe that the Xbox console is hurt by the PC? It is, absolutely, it is. The console itself is hurt. And you say that it's a separate market. There's a big overlap. Not a complete overlap. There is some separation, and the console is still selling to some people, and there are people within that overlap like me that end up with both. But just like there's a bunch of people here that haven't got a PlayStation 5 because they're going to play God of War Ragnarok when it comes to PC in a couple of years, it does hurt the console. And that's not bad. Even if it doesn't hurt it a lot, it still hurts it. And it's fine. What it doesn't hurt is the console's catalog and the things that matter to us as consumers. The fact that Microsoft are bringing games to PC does not mean that we get less games on our Xboxes, and that's the risk. That's where, when you talk about commercial interests and like any selfish plays that these companies might make and whether they can possibly be good for us, you look at the struggling examples like virtual reality, like the Dreamcast and Sega and things like that. Only then do you need to be concerned about what hurts where and what doesn't. In Microsoft's case, what they're doing is not hurting in any way that's detrimental to us. It just means that we get more games all the time, everywhere, including on the Xbox console. And you only need to go back to 2013, go back to the Xbox One and see what Microsoft were giving to us as console gamers. If you forget playing on PC, you consider yourself an episode 13, you're an Xbox guy and you're going to play on Xbox and nothing else, right? What did you get on the Xbox One? Are you getting more or less now that Microsoft released games on PC? Now that their plan is broader, now that their plan is PC, phone, cloud, all the rest of it. You're getting more. You're definitely unequivocally and without like any opportunity to challenge really. Microsoft are giving you more games on the Xbox console as a result of their strategy to put games in more places. So yeah, they can hurt their console if it benefits us. All good. Pete, there's a multitude of people who quite rightly prioritize other things in life over a gaming PC. Yeah, consoles are going to have... There's loads of people here that play on consoles because they prefer that experience. And there's a large number of people that would have a gaming PC, would not dream of setting it up on the main screen in their house. So looking outside of my little box, I've got my PC and my consoles connected to the same screen, but that's a rarity. Like most people's PC is at a desk with a monitor. A lot of people want a system that they can just plug into a TV and play a game. That's not changing. Cloud is the challenge. Yes, Pete. Blue cheese is too much. You enjoy soft cheese with a blue stripe, but full on Stilton is just too much. See, I thought Stilton was like the mildest of blue stuff. I can kind of eat Stilton. PC Master Race. Well, so AJH, are you a PC guy? You're a PC guy, but you like Xbox from a catalog perspective or something. TJI, as soon as you drop the games on PlayStation, this for sure hurts the console. Yeah, it does. It does hurt the console, no doubt. Putting it on PlayStation would mean less reason to buy an Xbox. Putting on Switch would mean less reasons to buy an Xbox. That's true. Again, not necessarily bad though. Pete, your missus would die if you said that you're setting up games on the living room TV. Yeah. Good reason for a console. Your main platform is PC, but you like the Xbox model. I also like the Xbox model. Game Pass is still... I will remain ever skeptical, because that's just healthy and wholesome to be skeptical of big corporations. But Game Pass at the moment is good for us. And I'm happy with that. As long as it works for me, I'll stay on it. As long as, like I said then, Microsoft in 2013, if you ask me to choose, I want the Microsoft from 2013 that has a console, or the Microsoft today that has presence everywhere and owns 30 odd studios because they want to push games everywhere. I'll take the today one. Like, Absolutely. I get more out of that. So I want the Microsoft that we're going to get in 10 years' time. Can't see the future. Let's just hope for the best. You also never pay full price for Game Pass Ultimate. I never touch Microsoft rewards because I'm stupid. I'm stupid and I work against my own best interests. AJ, you like their service and their outlook on game variety instead of Sony's sole focus on third person blah blah. So do I. I don't dislike many players within the industry that are delivering us games. I do wish that Sony would have more variety. There's a lot of challenges around game development in terms of budgeting and how to make that money back and all the rest of it. I don't know what, like, that's a big conversation for another time. Stilton is better. Oh no, I'm not going to read loads of cheese names. It's all going to go wrong. I'll embarrass myself. It's going to be like a puzzle game, but with cheese pronunciation. Didn't the Xbox leaks say that if Game Pass doesn't grow to a certain amount of players, Xbox is finished? And it wasn't even the leaks. That's what Phil Spencer said in court. So there were leaks of numbers. And Phil Spencer said that those weren't actually the numbers that his department is using, but that if Game Pass did stay on the level of those speculated numbers, yeah, they'd have to close the business. They're not going to. Game Pass, so the trajectory of Game Pass has definitely underwhelmed Microsoft. It's underperformed on what they expected it to do, and that is a problem for them. But we've seen over the last year or whatever that they have backed away from Game Pass and cloud. They're still doing it. It's still massively central to what they're doing, but they're embracing the model of selling things more so, and other ways to make money as well. So they were, I think, all in on Game Pass, and I don't think it's performed as much as they want. So they're just hedging their bets a little bit more and making sure that they stay relevant in other monetization models as well, which is, again, fine. It's over 35 million Game Pass Easy subscribers. Well, that depends, episode 13, on whether you're bloating the number with Game Pass Core or not. Which Microsoft can do if they want to impress people on the outside, but internally they know the difference. If you're going to do the Game Pass Core thing, then you'd think it's closer to 50 million by now. I think they had 47 million gold subscribers, didn't they? It is a good service. It's a good service that they've struggled to sell. And this is why their expectations of it were high, because it's good value, good service, good proposition for people that like games. But it hasn't grown as much as they would expect. And I don't know the current numbers. I'm not talking as of today, but their previous financials for the last 2 or 3 years, it's been a consistent theme that they thought Game Pass would be doing better than it is. And that's got... I'm not saying that as shade on the service. I like the service a lot. Core is bollocks and shouldn't be included in the Game Pass numbers. That's true, Pete. I say that's true. Immediately I said that's true, Pete. But actually, internally, Microsoft needs to be aware of what's going on, what's good, what's bad. Core is bollocks, episode 13. Core shouldn't exist, but we'll come back to that. In terms of what counts in the numbers to us on the outside, we're not even privy to the numbers. Microsoft don't tell us. So there's no, again, like I said earlier, us on the outside, if you're saying, do you want to be told the truth or do you want to be lied to? None of us want Microsoft to fluff up the numbers and mislead us with false information. So you're right on that, Pete. We don't want them to artificially inflate numbers and give us those like that matters to us. But we're not privy to the numbers at all, and that's fine. Why should we need to be privy to the numbers? We just need to see, is this service good for me? Do I buy it? Yes, no. Core rebranding was perfect for fluffing high-level Game Pass numbers. Yeah, Replicant, but it also does bring it in line and make it more consistent with what PlayStation are doing. I like to think, so I give Microsoft the benefit of the doubt on this one because this might not be true at all. I like to think that the Core play is a midterm strategic move to get rid of paying for online, to get rid of gold, because they had this thorn in the side where They seem to want everyone on Game Pass. They had Xbox Live Gold going. Nobody wants to pay for online multiplayer. And this is what I was getting at episode 13 when I said that core is shit and shouldn't be there. Nobody wants to pay for online multiplayer. Nobody should be paying for online multiplayer. There is no offering. We're not paying for anything when we pay for online multiplayer. So it needs to go away. But it had 47. I might be confusing with Plus actually, but it had like 40 odd million subscribers. And Microsoft could not walk in front of anyone that cares about money and say, hey, we're terminating this subscription service today. And that's that. Never going to fly. And that's why Gold stuck around for so long. By moving it over to Core and transitioning Gold subscribers into Game Pass, I reckon when they do get rid of the online requirement, they're no longer losing the entire 47 million or whatever it is. Like, there's a fair chance that if they drop it in that way, people won't notice a change to what Game Pass Core is so much as they would notice Xbox Live Gold doesn't exist anymore. Like, your service is terminating or your service is changing slightly will be so much better for retention when it happens. So I really, 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 really hope that Game Pass Core is not a cynical attempt to bloat Game Pass numbers. It is a sensible attempt to retain Gold users when they drop the online requirement. Does that make sense? Thing is, online multiplayer for Sony and Microsoft is big money. Exactly, Replicant. It's big money and they can't drop it. It's shite and it shouldn't be there. But Microsoft in particular, so Sony can do it, and the same is entirely true of Sony. It's bullshit that you have to pay for multiplayer on PlayStation. You're not using any significant PlayStation infrastructure to do that. There is no reason for the charge. But it's really like critically illustrated on Microsoft's side because they offer exactly the same services to their PC audience for free. And console players should have been shouting so much louder about this as a problem. Like, how comes that guy gets to play Minecraft online, Sea of Thieves online, Halo online? No, Halo's free, that doesn't count. How comes that guy gets to play all of these things, use Xbox Live Party Chat, use like all of the features that I have, but I have to pay £8 or £9 a month and they don't have to pay a penny? How is that a sustainable situation? Because it's not, and console players should have been complaining much louder than they were. Sony don't have quite the same direct illustration because they're not offering the same services anywhere other than PlayStation, but the same is true of them. So can you play Halo free online with Core? You can play Halo for free online without Core. Halo is a free-to-play game, and free-to-play games got pulled out of the whole you have to pay to be online scenario, which is equally stupid. Like, exactly, episode 13. Equally stupid travesty of a situation. Froggy T White, we did talk a little bit about MOBAs already. Halo is a great game for free. Well, so this is where it's not like roses and sweet smells, episode 13. The reason people celebrate that free-to-play games are not in this stupid subscription service, and they are doing it wrong. You need to step back and realize how silly it is. Free-to-play games, it's better that you don't have to pay for them rather than you do have to pay for them, right? But it is not for you that you don't have to pay for them. The whole point of the free-to-play model is about stripping down every barrier to entry, any reason that anybody has not to be on your Fortnite or whatever else, so that you can get them on there and start charging money. And the drive to get these games outside of the paywall was from Epic. Epic bullied Microsoft and Sony into doing this so that they could make more money out of people. There's nothing about it that was like for us. It's also that they can get more money. And when you look at the scenario in practice, what we get as end users is you can have Fortnite on one hand and Minecraft on the other. One of these games you paid for and one of them you didn't. The one you paid for, you can't play online because you paid for it. A fucking ridiculous scenario they set up. And I had this scenario, actual, like, true story. One of my wife's friends had been through a divorce, was like fairly hard up, had a child, and wanted to do something nice for them. We had a spare Xbox to hand to them, right? So hard up, single parent, trying to be nice for their kid, and they're like, got an Xbox, not got any money, but my kid can play Fortnite with their friends. Yeah, they can play Fortnite with their friends. They can play Roblox with their friends. Yeah, they can play Roblox with their friends. They can play Minecraft with their friends. No, if you want to play Minecraft with your friends, you have to pay a subscription. Why do I have to pay a subscription for them to play Minecraft with their friends, but not Fortnite or Roblox? The clearly logical reason is that Microsoft is Minecraft is a game that you pay money for. Stupid scenario. It's not for people. It's not done for people. I get that access to Fortnite and Roblox is better than not access to Fortnite and Roblox, right? It's better than the alternative where you need the paywall up for every game. But the paywall should not exist. The correct answer is to tear it down entirely. Like, you should not have to pay to play these games online. Minecraft Realms, like where you're renting a server or something and there's a direct cost associated, by all means, charge for Minecraft Realms. Do not charge for online access for games that are paid for. Especially not when you're not doing that for your PC audience. It makes no sense. And I will rant about that like over and over again because it's silly. And it will go away. Things will get better on that one. Microsoft do a lot of good things, but still some silly things. Sony charge for cloud saves and shit. Yes, they do. And this is very, very clear when I'm leveling this criticism. I use Microsoft in the example because it was an Xbox that we were giving away, but the same scenario is true on PlayStation side. They have a paywall for online play as well. Makes no sense as well. Both of them need to take that down. Are they going to take that down? I don't see much pressure for them to do so. So not anytime soon, but I do think that Microsoft migrating Gold into Game Pass is a step in the right direction towards that. I hope so. I might be giving them too much credit, but I think that's the play that they're going for. You'd love it if Game Pass included online for 30 quid a year. Why episode 13? Why does Game Pass need to include online? Why do you need to pay for online? Game Pass needs an annual option. Does it not have one? I don't typically go for annual subscriptions in case I want to cancel them. Because you'd happily do so. But why would you happily do so? If you were playing those games on PC, you wouldn't need to pay the online access. You should not need to pay for the online access. You should need to pay your internet provider for the online access. Annual is cheaper and Sony offer it. Yeah, they do. I'm not like Microsoft used to offer it, right? And they took it away at some point. And Sony used to offer it a lot cheaper than they do now. This was one of their maligned moves from last year. It was a lot cheaper and they took away... They didn't take away the 12-month plan entirely, but they increased it by like 30-40%, something like that. Online should be free. You can make you can make some argument if they're providing infrastructure and it does cost money to do, but there's so much money in games. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's particularly ridiculous when you've got the PC players playing on the same infrastructure, everything exactly the same or better, not paying a fee for it. You can't. The contrast is too stark. Microsoft have a great online service for you. It's the same, episode 13. They offer exactly the same service on PC. For not a penny. So, and I say I'm actually one of the few people that would. Microsoft obviously kind of pioneered the walled garden subscription ecosystem with Xbox Live Gold in the first place on 360, and I actually think it was a decent shout on the 360. Like, they had something to offer back then. They had something of value because this stuff wasn't common and wasn't free elsewhere. But even more so with Xbox, as Microsoft owns Azure. Yeah, indeed they do. Indeed they do. And none of these games are... It's a mess because it's not like we're paying Xbox Live Gold and Microsoft are delivering some phenomenal online service that you can't get elsewhere. They're not saying, here's Azure, so here's the crackdown that we promised you with destruction everywhere. They're saying, you want to play FIFA? You're going to be on EA's servers, but we're charging you a tariff to get there. Why? because then you'll give us money. So, suppose you all... Well, Tom, what am I reading? Good question, Tom. I'm not sure I entirely follow, but yes. Pete, when you renew Game Pass in March, you think after a 3-year mega deal, you'll look for the cheapest renewal. Sadly, it won't be for 6 or 12-month key from a third party. Oh, it'll probably be for. I say all this, I complain about the online access. I have Game Pass Ultimate. It doesn't directly change anything for me because the online stuff is included in there, but it's very easy to step back, look at it objectively and say, that's silly. That's silly. It shouldn't be like that. Why is it like that? Not why. We all know why. We all know exactly why, but we can also all see what needs to change. So we stacked Game Pass for 3 years, but episode 13, what if? What if? I don't know what Microsoft can possibly do to upset you. Actually, no, that's fine. That's probably a good choice. I reckon in 3 years' time, you're still going to love them. So June 2024 is not 3 years from now, but good. AJ, you mostly bought Ultimate for streaming games on the go. See, I have Ultimate because I'm on PC and Xbox, so the crossover. I mean, I got it before they had the setup that they've got now. But Ultimate always made sense for me in terms of access to games wherever I wanted it, so. Stat cookers. Yes, in a massive pyramid, Tom. Why not? Stacked it 3 years ago when you did, yeah. I've not. Right, let's do the next topic. Because none of that was part of the topic. So I want to talk about the Xbox Developer Direct and the games that are in it. Okay, we're doing that. So all of this Game Pass stuff, we're going to put that behind us. All agree that games are wonderful. And then we're going to look at the Developer Direct. So Microsoft announced it. It's taking place on the 18th. So I guess I will... I don't know what time it is, but we might have to rejig Q&Asa next week to cover that. I don't know. I'll think about that. It's happening next week on the 18th. They've currently announced 4 games will be at the show, which is the same as they did at last year's Developer Direct. They announced there'll be 4 games at the show. And then on the day, they revealed and launched the 5th, which was Hi-Fi Rush. What's this new scrolling marquee? It's not scrolling. It shouldn't be scrolling. I specifically didn't allow for scrolling. Oh, someone super chat something. Those aren't new, but or member milestone, you know, some of the things that trigger all the fancy alerts. I don't want to like reforge it and sit here begging you all to throw money at stuff, but you know, if you want to see the fancy alerts, then I like them. The member names is exactly what it is, episode 13. You have correctly identified it. It is a display of people supporting the channel through memberships to YouTube or Twitch. Someone's done something. I can see things happening. Pete has the gold badge. Oh, wanker, love the show. Perfect message. Thank you, Pete. Right. Why do you think Elder Scrolls 6 is having its own stream? Let's get back to that. Do the other games first. Then we will try and touch Elder Scrolls Online as well. So, Developer Direct. 4 games announced. They are Avowed. Very much revealed. We already know a fair amount about it. Hellblade 2. Even more so revealed. We've even seen the mountains where they drew inspiration for the landscapes. But Hellblade 2. Our Untold Histories or whatever it's called. Which we've only seen, I think, a CGI trailer for. It had that Iranian lady voicing it. We don't know much else about it. And Indiana Jones, which was fairly strongly speculated to be present at the Game Awards and wasn't. It's going to be here. Key thing that these games have in common is that they're all going to launch in 2024. In theory, they're all going to launch in 2024. We know dates can slip and all the rest of it, but all planned to release this year. And there is a fair chance the 4 will become 5 or 6 on the day. We're not going to talk about the speculated extra shadow drops things that might be in there. We're just going to talk about the 4 games that we know about, because That's nice and easy to keep contained. So let's talk about Avowed first. While we're talking about it, shout in there which of those 4 games you're most interested in seeing. Avowed is top of my list because Obsidian make good games with good writing, and Avowed, much as people are upset, last time it was shown and they showed the gameplay, people weren't too happy with the visuals of it. People are hard to please. 1 second, Avowed gameplay. So 7 months ago, at whatever event that was, must have been the summary ones, we got to see a bit of Avowed, having previously only seen a CGI trailer that was very grand in scope and all the rest of it. Hellblade or indie, you thought Avowed? Well, I think so. Avowed, when I talk about games that I'm most looking forward to next year, Avowed is in that second tier, which is a very good place for it to be for me. It's a very high tier of what I'm anticipating. Only Dragon's Dogma is clearly above it, right, in my own personal tiering. I really want to play Avowed, and I don't actually think this trailer that's on screen now, I don't think this is an ugly game by any stretch, but people were disappointed by it, was a consensus around it. No, this looks nice. People are wrong, people are silly. And we're going to see more of Avowed. Probably each of these games that are coming, we're probably going to see about 10 minutes of. There's actually, I don't need to see a lot of Avowed. Like, it's already got that place in my tier ranking where I know that I want this. I know enough about the developer and the game to know that I want this. So I get, like, they still need to show it, and it would be concerning if they didn't. But for me, it's, I can't imagine that they're going to show anything that's going to make me less interested in this game. Kind of a known entity, known quantity. People are very wrong to be worried about Avowed. People are, yeah. Yeah. Obviously, I'd rather play it in VR. And, like, it's, if it has a weakness, it is that it has Obsidian's melee combat, which is not particularly enthralling. When they run up and hit stuff with axes, it looks kind of like grounded. So I don't think it's going to be that thrilling an action game in that sense. But then neither was Skyrim and all of the other things that are like high fantasy, similar in that vein. And the magic looks more fun than the hitting. Even with subpar combat, though, the game looks like it should be excellent. And I'm not saying the combat will turn out to be poor. I'm just saying even if. You know, some outside company edited the trailer. That's typical, though. Like, usually, you don't want the teams that are supposed to be making the game to spend all of that time on a trailer, so. They said there's something wrong with the footage. Maybe. That didn't look finished to me, but I look at what it's doing and I don't see an ugly game there. It's the same when, you remember when Halo Infinite got its gameplay reveal and everyone was shocked at how ugly it was, and then they took it back for a year and it came out a slightly different color and everyone was completely convinced that it looked entirely different. Avowed's going to be like that. It's really close to the look that they're going for. It just wasn't quite there in that trailer. A little bit of tweaking and people will be much happier. It's your second most anticipated game next to Hellblade. Let's talk about Hellblade, because Avowed, unless any of you have specific concerns or things that you want to say about Avowed, I don't know, it is fairly well known. I think we know what Avowed is going to be. Obsidian was surprised and the screenshots later on were better. Yeah, maybe. What's the shadow drop? If there is one, it has to be that. Oh, people know. What's the game called? The one that's like Castle Crashers but with seasons and all the rest of it. I would not be at all surprised if that one does end up being a shadow drop, but I'm not. Speculation's not really my bag, and rumors and stuff like that. Patrick, exactly. Even if it's just fantasy, the Outer Worlds. If it is to Skyrim what the Outer Worlds was, stuff that didn't exist at the time. But you know what I mean. You're right. If it's just that, I want it to be slightly bigger than the Outer Worlds in particular, but not by a lot. And that's fine. I'm cool. I'm happy. Towerborn, that's the one. Painful Discourse. If there's going to be a shadow drop, it would make sense for it to be that. But the whole point of the Hi-Fi Rush shadow drop was it was properly not anticipated actual shadow drop. No one had heard of that game, and then suddenly, boom, there it was. No longer was it Project Hibiki or whatever it was called. Pete, one day, will I have a desk that is an appropriate size? No. No. Maybe. Pete, you know this kind of comment really hurts my soul. And now I'm just going to sit in stunned silence for a little while. They don't need to do a shadow drop. People should stop accepting shadow drops. That's a problem that they'll have, is that if they do a shadow drop this time around, it will definitely set like a strong expectation for every show that they do. Again, clarity is nice. Like, I think if they weren't doing one, they probably would have tried to get ahead of it. They have learned their lesson on getting ahead of hype and expectations. So I think if there wasn't going to be a shadow drop, then at some point before the 18th, Aaron Greenberg will say, just to set expectations, there's not a shadow drop. Or something along those lines. But again, speculation, not my thing. If we see it, we see it. If we don't, we don't. You can see he's spending plenty of time into Avowed. I don't necessarily want to spend that much time on it. Like I was saying with games with an end game earlier, if Avowed is a game with an end, that's cool. I don't need every game to be open-ended. I can't cope with every game being open-ended. I need some of the games to finish so that I can play the other ones. But can't stop thinking about the table now. Let's talk about Hellblade. Hellblade's more complicated. So we already had speculation going around from Colt. He wants it to be 24 frames per second. Everything that we've seen in terms of the gameplay snippets, they've been letterboxed. So ultra widescreen for Tony, which is a presentation choice. And that's all okay. They made bold promises before we saw gameplay about how they were going through all their various martial arts and weapon training and trying to enhance the combat and make that a bigger deal than it was in the first game. And that's the kind of talk that got people thinking they were getting a God of War competitor out of this. The first Hellblade was very much not a cinematic, like, action game in the way that PlayStation typically deliver. So it's difficult to see how Hellblade 2 is going to play out, because the first one wasn't fun. Hellblade 2 30 frames on console, it will probably be 30 frames replicant. There'll be like too much pushback to lock it at 30 on PC, even if they want to. But the first Hellblade though, it wasn't fun. So the second Hellblade, I don't know what I want from it, because I kind of don't want them. I don't want them to drop what the first one was and make it like an action-heavy Norse mythology game, because it was never really about the Norse mythology in the first one. But I don't know if the first one carries a sequel in the same style. I don't know if I want it to carry a sequel in the same style. I'm really unsure about Hellblade 2. Like, it's a thing. No, Connor, you didn't think it was fun. You thought it was an eye-opener. You thought it was brutal. You thought it was mentally crushing and oppressive. And you watched the documentary and thought, wow, they nailed this. This is games as art. This is something that challenges the idea that games are even supposed to be fun, and shows you that they can deliver more, that they can be broad and impressive and expressive in ways that games usually aren't. No, Wayne, you didn't enjoy the first one. Come on, I'm telling you what you thought. Pick up your lines quickly. You think they go for more of a spectacle with the sequel? Like, is that good? Is that what we want? It's really difficult, because normally when I talk about games not necessarily having to be fun, I sincerely believe that gaming's the best medium and can do so much more than just be like toys for electronic toys, as it were. Yeah, Replicant, you could enjoy it and respect it and hold it with like really high regard, really high esteem. But it wasn't aiming to be fun. Like, that's not what the project was. And that's a good thing. But typically, when you look at games and you consider them art or other ways like to express all sorts of things, you don't normally see it in the AAA space. It's probably a lot more common if you go small scale and look at indie games where people are telling their more unique stories in more unique ways. But you don't see it in the AAA space so much, and that's not like coincidental. It's the same in movies and all sorts. So the bigger the budget, the more safe the project. So Hellblade 2 sits in a really weird place because it is a follow-up to an indie game that had like 25 people work on it and really pushed indie boundaries to be something very different. And then Hellblade 2 comes along from that same studio but with a AAA budget and a AAA expectation and a AAA publisher. And I don't know what to expect from it. I really don't know like how they navigate that. Tom, you never played Hellblade, didn't look much. It was pretty. It was a pretty game. The Last of Us wasn't fun. Part 2. See, no, I think The Last of Us was kind of fun. Like, they aimed for it. I don't think Naughty Dog are very good at gunplay and stuff. But it was pretty action-packed. Like, they tried for cinematic. But there was plenty of game in there. It wasn't like Hellblade. It was definitely more mainstream than Hellblade. Didn't look much fun. There were times playing Hellblade where I didn't really want to progress it any further. You can see this thing that's impressive and you can see what they're doing, but fun's not the word for it. And I don't want to overstate it and pretend I was like a crying emotional wreck or something like that, but it was just a very different experience as gaming goes. You think Hellblade 2 is what they wanted the first game to be like, but budget restricted the vision? Maybe. The Last of Us was pretty fun to play, just didn't need a sequel. I didn't enjoy the gameplay in the first Last of Us. I think the gameplay was better in the sequel. Uh-oh, my light's flickering. I think the gameplay was better in the sequel, but I didn't think the sequel was a sequel, if that makes sense. Last of Us Part 2, like, it stands up alright as a game. Didn't stand as a sequel. But that's just me, and we're not going to talk about Last of Us right now, because again, too much to get through. My light's flickering, it's going to ruin everything. So, Hellblade 2. I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing what it is. I don't know if they can pull off what they did with the first one. You didn't play the sequel. Are you planning to play the sequel, Tom? Hellblade was more captivating than enjoyable. It was, especially if you watched the documentary that came with it. That explained like their reasoning behind all the bits that you didn't necessarily like. Their reasoning for those stupid rune puzzles. What they were actually trying to express with that. There were a lot of layers to that game that were captivating indeed. So I don't think Microsoft are going to push them off course. I think it is going to come out as a sequel to Hellblade 1, and it is going to be divisive for that reason. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I am. Did I beat all of the Last of Us games? I've beaten The Last of Us 1 and 2, yes. The Last of Us, the first one, I played on the PlayStation 3 and really didn't like it. Dropped it. So I played the remaster, HD remaster, whatever they called it when they put it on the PlayStation 4. I played it there. And I played The Last of Us Part 2 nearer to when it came out. But what about Project Mara? Is it real? Are we going to see that anytime? We're not going to see that. The developer director wouldn't have thought. I don't think Ninja Theory are big enough to do those projects in tandem, really. But we shall see. What else was there? So, Ara, Histories Untold. I'm really interested in that because, unlike Hellblade 2 and unlike Avowed, we've seen very little of it. And like the kind of, I think it's a 4X game, I could be wrong, but either way, it's going to be building and civilization management and all of that kind of stuff through whatever whatever kind of gameplay systems it delivers. I'm very interested in that one. Usually when Microsoft do get involved in things like Age of Empires 4, and then you do put a little bit of money behind these kind of projects, I'm usually impressed by the results. So I actually very much want to see what Ara's all about. It could be a game I sink some time into, I hope. Gonna bring up the trailer. Make sure I could be talking about completely the wrong game. I might be. No, it is History Untold. Oh, there's a gameplay trailer. There's a gameplay trailer from 4 months ago. How did I not know? Okay, then I'm not looking forward to it anymore because I've already seen a gameplay trailer 4 months ago. I have a light flickering. You might see me flickering. There's not a lot I can do about it. You think it'll be Order 1886 Rise level showpiece, but with a lot more substance? I mean, the borders mean that it's going to be that kind of visual showpiece. Yeah, honestly, I'm less interested in it as a visual spectacle. I'm talking about Hellblade here more so than Ara that's on at the moment. It is a 4X, good replicant. I've always wanted to play a 4X. I don't understand what they are. Never really got into one. Yeah, I don't know. Like, Hellblade is going to be a visual spectacle, no doubt about it. For me, when you cut off massive strips of the screen to achieve that higher fidelity, I guess it's interesting. Like, the Order was interesting to an extent, but it didn't make for a good game. I don't know. I'm less bothered by the technical side of it. It'll be a showcase, but it's not going to be a showcase of what that engine's going to deliver going forwards because of the screen ratio. This might sound really petty and trivial, and it is really petty and trivial, but I don't want games to deliver at that ratio going forwards. So this as a tech spectacle is not indicative of what games are going to look like. I don't need to get myself an ultra wide. I need developers to respect my pixels and fill them up with color. And Hellblade 2 is not going to do that. So that is petty and trivial. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to look at it and I go, wow, these characters look brilliant. Like, wow, look at her face. It's incredible. But it's not indicative of what the engine can deliver. Luke's still welcome. I'm glad someone agrees with my obscure take because most people don't. I'll be playing it on a PC. So you're sure that I'll be able to go full screen? I like your confidence. I'm not as confident because I think they are committed to their artistic vision. I hope that you have the option on PC, and it will be a misstep if you don't, because if there's one thing PC gamers are good at, it's complaining. We'll get complaints if they don't let us. But I think they are very committed to their vision, so we'll see on that one. Right. So that's Hellblade. Ara. Let's talk about the other one that's kind of interesting. Let's talk about Indiana Jones. We've not seen any gameplay of Indiana Jones, and I hear mixed things about people's reverence for the IP. Is it a strong IP? Does anybody like Indiana Jones? And I'm really unsure. The films, at least the older ones, are well loved. But is it the IP? Or is it Harrison Ford? Like, what element of Indiana Jones gives it its appeal, and does that carry over to games? The new movies are meh. Well, yeah, Kratos. I've seen the fourth one. I haven't seen the fifth one. I heard terrible things about it. You would hope for the option to remove the bars is there on PC. If it's not, then, you know, modders and all of that stuff. I mean, I don't want the black bars there when I Unreal Engine VR inject it. That would be weird. The 2D games were cool. Does it? I mean, obviously, you can't really talk about Indiana Jones without mentioning Uncharted, because Uncharted was very clearly inspired by Indiana Jones and was essentially the gaming version for all of those releases. It's the hope that kills you, indeed. That's why we'll see when it comes out. So, Kratos, they're hoping for it being like Uncharted and Tomb Raider. Who's hoping? The people waiting to watch the show? The people that want to see it and want it to be good? Or do you think that's the model that Machine Games are aiming for? Connor, can't say you're a fan of Indiana Jones. You've never seen them. Oh, they're like classic kids films. Kinda. Shinji, remember when Shinji Mikami did it with The Evil Within, and within a month modders were over that shit? Yes, I do, AJH. And yet the console versions still stand with those black bars. The Evil Within, by the way, as an example, that had its cinematic vision, it had its black bars, and they patched it out eventually, officially without the mods. It's so much better without the black bars. Cinematic choice and direction can shove it. Give me my damn pixels. Anyway, game history test. Tomb Raider. Which game inspired the Lara Croft franchise? Rick Dangerous. I can't remember. You think the problem with indie, and you absolutely love it as a franchise, is generally it's hard to divorce it from Ford, much the same way as a Terminator and anything. Yeah. Is it really, Pete? Did I get it right? Oh man, I'm the best at trivia. HH, that's true. But that was, like, kids were tougher back then. Ripping out hearts and all of that was fine. Like, you watched it as a kid, I watched it as a kid, therefore it was a kid's movie. Beverage is ginger beer with the rum that Tony got me. Very nice it is. You wonder who will voice Indy. Yeah, so do I, Replicant. I wonder a lot of things about it. I'm really, like, it's a game with a big budget that might come out and impress me, but there's nothing about the IP that particularly interests me as a game. The rum. Oh, that is the rum. It's good. You're looking forward to seeing it? Yeah, I mean, Machine Games are very technically accomplished and they've made some good games. Indie, with its Disney tie-in, is going to have a quality bar that they need to hit, even if they struggle to hit. It's going to have a quality bar that they need to hit. So, to all intents and purposes, they should reveal something good. Right? They should reveal something good, but it's still just going to be Indiana Jones, right? It's one of those things, like, let it go, it's gone. I don't know. That's not necessarily true. There's not, like, Indiana Jones as an IP hasn't been milked to death in the way that Star Wars has. So there's still some hope for it, but they get Anthony Ingruber. I don't know who that is, but I hope that you're right. Tony O'Rum, yes. So hopefully it'll turn out, they'll reveal Indiana Jones, it will look brilliant, it will look legally distinct from the Uncharted games, which I'm not a massive fan of the Uncharted games, to put it out there. It will look massively distinct from them, and it will be brilliant. And I'll forget the fact that it's an IP I don't necessarily care that much about, and just go all in because it's a quality game. That could happen, that could be the outcome. But it just doesn't seem to be particularly rich source material, I don't know. Or it's not an itch that needs scratching, because there are those many Uncharted games. We haven't even had an Uncharted game for ages. I think maybe part of the reason, it's not fair, but part of the reason that I look at Indiana Jones and think, not that interested, might be because I didn't particularly like Uncharted. So I might be unable to divorce that, like divorce the two games, because Uncharted clearly was an Indiana Jones game. So when you tell me there's going to be an Indiana Jones game, maybe I'm just like envisaging climbing everywhere, holding forwards to hope that a cinematic progresses. And it could be completely different, so. Am I a Kentucky bourbon drinker? Not yet, Connor. I hope to grow into it. I hope to grow into it. Replicant, I loved the Tomb Raider reboot trilogy. Especially the first one of them. That was awesome. Like, awesome. They managed to take Lara Croft, the Rick Dangerous inspired triangular boobs tomb raiding thing, and make a properly endearing, compelling character out of her in the first of those Tomb Raider games. The whole trilogy was quality from a gameplay standpoint, but the first one was the storytelling that I enjoyed. And maybe if I try and look at Indiana Jones and see more of that in it, I'll get more out of it. But I don't know. I mean, you could reinvent Indiana Jones the character and make him have all the depth and character and development to carry the game? You could. We'll see, eh? We'll see. A Harrison Ford impersonator and stand-in body double. I see. Well, they could pull one of the ones that still does all the acting at Orlando, Florida or whatever, right? Disneyland. Disney World. You wonder who the voice actor will be, and the face actor, indeed, face model. And that's what Painful Discourse was talking about as well. Indie with depth wouldn't be indie. Well, that's true, Tom, and that's one of the reasons that I can't... I don't know what to make of it. We haven't seen it yet. Hope is a good thing. Rebellions are built on hope, so let's just hope it's good. And we can build a solid rebellion on there. It's not fair for me to paint it with the Uncharted brush. A lot of people like Uncharted. Not for me, really. I played them all. They're okay. Like the spectacle, but not much about the gameplay in any of them. So, did I just quote Star Wars? You know what? I so frequently quote that. I don't know why. It's a stupid quote, a stupid ass quote. But people talk about hope so often that it's just such an easy quote to reel off. Never makes sense in any context that I use it. And yet there it is. You like the LucasArts indie point and click games as a kid? I've not played those. I've seen a couple of people say they liked various older indie projects. Okay, so we'll wait and see on indie. And let's do... Did I have any other topics or should we do questions? It's 11:20. That's probably a good time to move on to the questions. Generally though, broadly, the Xbox Developer Direct overall that happened at the start of last year was a good time. Massive positive vibes from it that Xbox should have been able to ride throughout the year. Oh, there's a question. Okay. Let's talk about, forgetting that you've played these games and you know what they are. If you had two slates of games, you'd never played any of them. What do you think is the stronger slate? Last year's Developer Direct that had Redfall, Forza, Minecraft Legends and Starfield. So those four games, the 2023 slate of games from Microsoft, or the 2024 slate of games. I know that you played Redfall and got disappointed by it, and you've got your opinions on Starfield and Forza already, so it's a known quantity and you've done that. But forgetting that, pretending that you just got the IPs, the launch, the hype around them, do you think 2024 is better than 2023? This year is stronger. This year is going to play out stronger. I can say that without too much hesitation, I think. I don't... Starfield was big though, like in terms of something to look forwards to, more so than looking back at what it actually is. Starfield was big in that show. There's nothing in this one that's as big, is there? Like, indie is... Would you consider indie or Hellblade or Avowed to be on the same kind of hype level as Starfield was prior to launch? Starfield wasn't at the direct. Oh, fuck. Why not? Oh, it had its own thing afterwards, didn't it? I can't remember. I'm confusing myself. What was the fourth one at the direct then if it wasn't Starfield? We have 8 questions. That's quite a lot. When is the secret PlayStation showcase though? Painful Discourse. You missed it. Maybe. It was that secret that they ran the whole thing without actually telling anyone where or when it was. Minecraft, Redfall, Forza and something else. Hellblade 2 needs a confirmed release date. Okay, that's another follow-up question for you. So of the 4 games that we do know about, still answer the one about which slate is stronger, but of the 4 that we know about, Indie, Hellblade, Ara and Avowed, what's the order of release? JJ, you're more interested in this year's. I haven't actually thought about the answer myself. Because I've already said, like, I'm indifferent to indie. It might turn out brilliant, but I'm not judging the quality. I'm judging, like, the slate ahead of release. Indie is a fairly neutral one for me. Ara, I'm interested in because I don't normally play that kind of game, but I couldn't say confidently whether it'll be good or bad. I just noticed that the name looks really similar to my name, so I like it for that reason. Only that one letter different. But Ara, I couldn't say that it's like a heavy hitter in terms of hype. Hellblade kind of is. Kind of is. And Avowed definitely is for me. But it's tight between them, I think. Tight between them. In that context of looking ahead rather than what's real. So, Replicant, you think Hellblade 2 Spring, Indie Summer, Ara Autumn, and Avowed Autumn? Ara is a weird one because its release doesn't necessarily step on the other one's toes too much. Less audience overlap with that one. But I think you're probably on point. I'd maybe push Avowed to the back end of Autumn, which is more or less what you've done by listing it last. Hellblade, you think is going to be March. Indie is closer than people think. Yeah, Indie was supposed to come out nearer to when the last movie came out, I think. I also suspect that one's a lot closer than a lot of people would have anticipated. Hellblade, Ara, Indie, Avowed. Could be. Could be. Oh, and a year when Elden Ring gets a big DLC. That's a good point, Tom. I forgot about that. And yes, the release date, that's like, all of those are single player games that you can play at your own convenience, really. So in that sense, it's not like you have to play them immediately when they come out. It doesn't really matter if they conflict with other games too much. It might hurt Microsoft numbers, but it doesn't hurt my experience of playing them. No rush to play a single player game unless you're reviewing it or whatever, which, by the way, I probably will get back to in the near future. I've nearly finished all my Twitch and YouTube's out. Then it's back onto video time of various kinds. Hopefully, that's the plan. Work allowing and all the rest of it. Open with Hellblade, close with Indie. Not in terms of the running order of the show, though, but in terms of when they actually come out. Running order of the show is also a question, I guess. But also have the World of Warcraft expansion to avoid clashing with. That's funny because Blizzard have always traditionally been masters of suffocating their competition, but now they have new owners, so maybe they'll be nice to their competition going forward. Anyway, let's keep answering whatever you want to, keep talking about all the things, but we're going to go on to the Discord questions, of which there might not be any. I don't know, there might be. Let me have a look. Sean, pulling that over here. Pets in general. I don't actually think. There's not a single Discord question. The Discord server is really cool. If you're watching this thinking, oh, I want to get a piece of this Discord, it sounds like fun. Don't be put off by the fact that there's no questions this week, because we're very talkative in there in the other channels. And I can see there's been activity in the pets Discord room, which is always nice. As well as all the other places. So, Discord, no questions. Let's do... The Dev Director's at 8 PM. Okay, we'll have to start the show early next week and include it, I think. Let's do... No, Lila, no. I got a chime to say that I've appeared in chat. I know you don't do it on purpose. No, I'm not going to show the pets at the moment. I'm going to go on to the questions. Where have the questions gone? Oh, make that a bit bigger. Can you have a piece of the Discord, like shares? You wouldn't mind making some money? I don't... It's Discord. I pay money for Discord, Connor. You can take some of the Discord costs if you want, but I'm not sure that is what you want. So, first question, please. Can we see the Discord questions? There aren't any. You thought not, as there... No, so Pete, normally... I can't... It might have been you, actually, that didn't want to see the Discord questions. So I set it so that you can't see the history of the channel, which means you'll be able to see any questions that go into it at the point while you're connected. So you'll be able to flick into it if someone's just asked a question. But if someone has asked a question previously before you got there, those will be hidden from you. Yeah, there aren't any questions this week though, which is okay. It's a nice idea, Connor. I would love to be able to pay people all sorts of things for all sorts of things. Who knows? Maybe in future, eh? Maybe in future. So, Game On Tonio asked, with so many games to play, is it even worth it buying all the consoles and a PC like some have? You hear so much about backlog. It's that whole fear of missing out, isn't it? You could make do without buying new things and have plenty to play, exactly like you're saying. You could be a one console owner. You quite often pick up on this, Tony, more so than I do, and you're absolutely right. It's kind of a little bit unsettling when you go onto social media and everyone says you have to have all the consoles because that's what you do to play a game. Like, exclusives are brilliant, and you have to have a PlayStation and an Xbox to play them all. You're right. There's plenty of games. If you don't follow the news cycle that closely, if you don't get caught up in the hype, and you can avoid that fear of missing out, then you're probably going to enjoy your gaming more by just playing what you want to play, where you want to play it. I agree with that. I agree with that. It was my own answer. I agree with myself. Good job, me. Pat on the back. So, there's a question from Brad, but you don't know if you can click because it's covered by the pop-up bit. Well, let's try and find it another way if not. For now, next question, please. If you were in the Discord, you join the voice chat and fuck with the soundboard. I may have disabled the soundboard. I can't remember. If I was sensible, I would have disabled the soundboard. Tony, I frequently agree with you. Sometimes I'm too ashamed to admit it. So, is there a difference between someone who plays on only one platform, this is Tony again, brackets, mobile people don't count, compared to someone who plays on multiple platforms? I don't understand this one, Tony, so I'm going to agree with you again. Yes or no, whatever it is you're getting at. There's differences between all the people, right? I'm not sure that's necessarily a very... is it a meaningful distinction? Maybe in some spreadsheets. But I don't know. That's I think if you were to pull that as a statistic and try to make it meaningful, I'm not sure it'll be particularly good data, because there's different people that have different reasons for only having one platform, aren't they? It will be skewed by the fact that a large factor in it will be how wealthy people are. And if you're going to draw up a chart of spending habits and things, and you want to know if dedication to one console is a pivotal factor, you'd have to be very careful in how you drew those numbers to avoid just getting a like rich people spend more money kind of conclusion. Bry has asked, what's 99 plus 99 plus 100? I don't understand the question. Why are you asking me math questions for like young children, I would think. I'm assuming that Bry's gone, so I'm just gonna say, Bry, that's very strange as questions go. Very strange. Excel spreadsheets are love. Excel spreadsheets are life. Yes, Tom. Let's do the next question, please. AJ, you get 0 points for answering the question. Just to clarify, like, I don't understand what Bry's getting at with a maths question, but I am capable of that addition. Like, I did have that done. I just don't know what to do with it. Right. Capcom. Tony has asked, Capcom going DRM route has brought down all respect it accomplished last year. They will need to hit a consistent home run for every game this year. Not true, Tony. Not true. Do you know why it's not true? It's not true because Capcom had DRM in their games last year. They took some stick for it on Resident Evil 8-age, because Resident Evil 8-age is like one of the only games that was demonstrably hindered by its DRM. It's a de novo game, and it had hitching with DRM and none without it. the DRM scare stories and the de novo scare stories are typically wildly overblown by filthy, dirty, stealing pirates that like to hate on it as a way to justify their poor moral standing. Usually, there's legitimate arguments against it. I get, like, giving people that pay a lesser experience than people that don't is a problem. Giving DRM that hinders the experience for your actual customers is a problem. But the suggestion that Denuvo and other DRM solutions do that is wildly overblown. And there's like significant examples of it. There's a YouTuber that likes to analyze PC games who never knows if DRM is running or not until he finds out after the fact, and did whole videos praising a game and then found out afterwards it has the DRM that he likes to slate. It's so marginal, so fractional, but Resident Evil Village did have some staggers and stutter. So DRM's a difficult one because nobody wants it in games. Like, it doesn't benefit us, but at the same time, if people are stealing them, like pirating them willy-nilly, the people making them do have some right to try and preserve and protect their income. In an ideal world, they wouldn't need to. Can you imagine how fast computers would be if we didn't need to worry about security? If like people were good as a, like, at our core, as a core value, people were generally good and security wasn't a massive concern, PCs would probably be like 400% faster than they are now. The amount of wastage that goes into security, like, it's wild. And DRM is just the tip of the iceberg on that, the very small, negligible tip of the iceberg. DRM won't destroy the VRUE games then. So Capcom don't use Unreal Engine. The thing that you posted saying that they're going to block like mods and stuff, if it comes out and it stops VR, then I will be fuming. That would suck. If it comes out and it hurts performance, then that will suck. If it comes out and hurts the paying customer, that will suck. But usually the vocal critics of DRM are just pirates and nobody else. So I don't know. We'll see. If it is detrimental, then I will be first in line to complain. If it is not, then I will go about my business. I think it's blocking Cheat Engine. Cheat Engine, like, enables cheats, does it? Like, I will be fuming if it blocks Prey Dogs mods. Because all of the games that are on the re-engine, the Resident Evil, not Resident Evil, Reach for the Moon engine, whatever, all of the games that release on that engine work in virtual reality pretty quickly, because they're very moddable in that regard. It would suck if that capacity gets taken away. And I will write strong letters of protest if it does, and keep hold of the old versions of those games, and demand that they give me a nice DRM-free Dragon's Dogma as soon as possible. But until it comes out and actually causes me a problem, I'm not going to begrudge them trying to secure their games. Like, it's a shame that they have to. Cheat Engine, like, obviously you'd want to block Cheat Engine in a multiplayer game. I don't see the need to try and restrict it in a single player game. I know there's this extra issue that might end up biting us all in the arse, and that's this, particularly Japanese developers have this desire to lock down the nudie mods in the PC space. So you'd think it would be a case for other developers as well, but the Japanese developers have been fairly outspoken. They don't like seeing their Street Fighter characters appear naked in tournaments. They don't like that mod scene. And it is entirely possible that as a consequence of them not liking that, they see it as reputational damage and brand damage for their characters and IPs. And as a consequence of that, we might lose a lot of cool mods while they try and stop that kind of stuff. And that would suck. Especially if I lose the VR mods that actually matter. I don't think they're doing it from a bad place, though. I don't think Capcom are arseholes for doing this. I don't think they're trying to be malicious with it. I don't think they're trying to hurt their customers. So, I hope that we're not collateral damaging any of it. Episode 13 asked, I'm worried Xbox may go the way of Sega and pull out of the console space. Please be kind and let me know everything is going to be okay and Xbox is all good. Episode 13, Xbox is better than all good. They're in a strong position. They've invested heavily. They're not going to back away from that. You're going to get more Xbox games than ever before. And the consoles are not going anywhere anytime soon. Some of your PlayStation friends might also get some of those games. Who are they lying to? Every straight man likes that. No. It might be a specifically Japanese thing. I don't think it is. I think companies and corporations are very protective of their brands. It wasn't Capcom that did it. It was somebody else. I can't remember. You had, there were a bunch of games that just wouldn't release on PC for a while from Japan. And they specifically cited these mod scenes as a reason they were scared to put their games over there. I think one of them actually, and this is kind of ludicrous, but one of them was Tecmo. The Dead or Alive games were late to PC, and their reasoning for it was they didn't want the Dead or Alive characters to be modded into nudity. And Dead or Alive is like... It would be a very small amount of modding to make those characters nude. But they had set their boundaries and their lines, and they didn't want people to cross those. So, it's a weird thing. HH, you're currently and have been for the last few months been playing Ark Survival Ascended. It's Ark 1.5 on UE5, but the Windows version has been blocked from working with others on the official server due to the Windows version, not Steam, having any form of anti-cheat. Is it on Game Pass? Is that why you're on the Windows version? EP, does that mean you're sleepy? Jiggle but no nude. Jiggle, tiny bikinis and all the rest of it. But do not draw nipples on them, was the rule. Oh, you're on Steam, but it wasn't on Game Pass. Okay. Yeah, I knew Ark 2 would be, and I knew that Ark was for a fair old while. So I didn't know if the Survival Ascended one appeared there or not. All I really know about Ark Survival Ascended is that for a very limited time, they were hashtagging their games as #Asa, Ark Survival Ascended. But I bullied them off of it. I bullied them off my name. P, is it a bit sad to download a nude mod? Oh, I don't want to judge people. I've not downloaded any. Yeah, it is, Pete. It is. It is. It probably is. Here's a question for all of you. Has anyone downloaded like weird nude mods for PC games, I guess? For any PC game. Because you've got things like Baldur's Gate where it's just there. And we try not to... Oh, I lied. I've got nude mods on Skyrim VR, and it's really awkward because I've got no freaking idea where they came from. I've got no idea which mod pack made all my characters naked when I loot them. And it's really, really awkward because I play it on stream in VR, and I'm going to take your arm. No, I forgot. For some reason, you're dead and naked. And I've got one quest companion, not quest, like a companion NPC, one of the ones that follows you around, but it's from a mod pack. And she's naked. And I panicked at some point. I was like, I don't want this naked character following me around. I don't know what to do about it. And I tried to kill her, but she has like 1 billion health. So I was just live on stream, hitting a naked NPC with an axe, hoping that she would go away. So it's mostly only when you loot them, Pete, because if they've got armor on, the armor displays, but the mod removed whatever they would normally have in their non-armored state. But this one NPC didn't have armor, and I summoned her to help me with a battle at some point, completely forgetting that this was the case. I was just like, no, I forgot. And I would remove it. Like, it would make sense to remove it, but I've got no idea which mod it is. It's come as part of a pack. So Nexus Mods is full of it. Yeah. There's an awful lot of weird shit on Skyrim. I don't have like the properly weird shit. I just have a lot of naked characters walking around. I need to redo my Skyrim mods actually, because I still have that issue with the shadows flickering. Some games go well with mods. I mean, Skyrim goes well with mods. Of course Skyrim goes well with mods, but I want the mods that make the combat better, was what I was hoping for. The mods that improve the graphics. But one of my mods that improved the character graphics, it didn't do what I expected, I guess. So yeah, that's awkward. But apart from that, no, I don't have anything. I've never deliberately downloaded nude mods. Yeah, the Xbox ecosystem, obviously you had your Baldur's Gate 3 issue where people were sharing content from Baldur's Gate 3 and getting banned for a year, including all of their like Game Pass and purchased games and all of that stuff. Which is apparently partially resolved. They're slowly restoring those accounts. What question are we on? Oh, I haven't done the current one. 1 second, sorry, I'm on it. Replicant asked, we now know Jimbo Baggins Ryan blocked day one PC PlayStation games. Do you think that the new Money Man CEO will reverse this, or at least decrease the time between console and PC release? I don't know what we know, Jimbo. Is this from the Insomniac stuff? It's really... I anticipate that it'll decrease over time as Sony move kind of towards the more open model as well. But I don't see it being that soon, because they've still got ambitions for the PlayStation 5 and the PlayStation 5 Pro. They need those consoles to sell. The PlayStation 5 Pro in particular is going to come out towards the end of this year. And the audience for the Pro is definitely going to overlap more so with the PC audience than even the base console would. So they want people to seek and chase the high-end versions of games, and that high-end version is no longer on console. I know that's not necessarily a massive problem, but they are still so heavily, like, the console ecosystem, the sell a console and sell third-party games thing is still the lion's share of what PlayStation do, really. So I don't think it's that soon that they get sooner. They must look at Steam's concurrent number. Oh yeah, it's going to be swayed by the service games. The service games are going to come out on PC like, immediately, because they need to for those numbers. It's difficult to judge the impact of PC releases, because when they have, like, I don't know how they interpret their own numbers, but from what we've seen publicly, when they release these games like a year, 2 years later, they don't sell particularly well. Do you know what? Ghost of Tsushima is going to be the turning point, like the decision maker for them. They're going to release Ghost of Tsushima on PC probably within the next few months, right before announcing Ghost of Tsushima 2. And sales results from that one are going to be looked at really, really closely to determine whether they need to embrace PC more so than they are, or push away from it a bit. Because their most successful game, they've got the Spider-Man games did alright, and Horizon Zero Dawn did well. But everything else that they've released on PC, I don't think did particularly. I don't think it's simple for them. I don't think it's the no-brainer to release things on PC straight away in the way that like the Xbox community would tell you that it is. But I do think that the numbers and scales will tip over time, so... Sony want timed exclusives because they know they sell consoles. Yeah. I mean, Sony sell those consoles largely because they have those timed exclusives though, right? And obviously they have the name recognition and other things going for them. But didn't Days Gone do really well on PC? I don't think it did really well. those numbers are out there. They're about. Days Gone had a much better reception on PC, and the people liked it more. But I don't think it sold amazingly. AJC refused to buy Sony games day one when they release their ports day and date. Then you'll buy them at reduced prices and they can wait for your purchase. So Sony's games and day one games in general, single player games don't need to be played on day one. You're usually better off waiting anyway. Get them cheaper, play them better. You don't miss out on anything in most cases. Multiplayer games are different because there's like a wave in the community and you need to try and keep up with it if you want to get the most out of them. Single player games, all of the pressure to get it on day one is artificial and self-imposed. If it weren't for the fact that I try and talk about them on YouTube and review them and all the rest of it, I would not get single player games day one as a rule. With very few exceptions. Our replicant says Days Gone did do well on PC. Slow at the start, but it sold over time. I know that the reception was better. I know that people liked it. I don't like Days Gone. I think it's terrible. Terrible game. I say that having only played it for half an hour. The characters are unbearably annoying. Gone down in sales over time. They have gone down in sales over time, but they've mostly done less appealing games, haven't they? They're smaller games. Ratchet and Clank didn't do very well on PC, but Little Big Planet, Big Adventure thing, whatever it was called, that was like 20,000 copies or something like that. Like really dire. AJ, you bought Alan Wake and Baldur's Gate 3 on release, and you finished neither. Alan Wake, I see. I've not got. I mean, if you're stuck in inspecting a fat naked dude, I don't know how you progress past that, but probably try and do it quickly. Sackboy, yes, Patrick. Sackboy, A Big Adventure. Little Big Planet, A Big Adventure, same thing, right? Spider-Man did worse than Days Gone. Okay, fair enough. No, Isla, it's no. Right, episode 13 has asked, oh, he's already asked this. Do you think Xbox is here to stay? I trust you. My fragile green heart just needs reassurance that Xbox will last at least another 10 years. 10 years is a long time, but yeah. Yeah, they will. Yeah, they've got a roadmap that goes beyond that. In fact, they might even have made some headway towards their mobile storefront by that point. They might not. They're going to have a hard time in that arena, but they're not going anywhere. And yes, like Pete says, you need to chill. Question is, so Xbox are still going to be around in 10 years. The real question is, can we chip away at episode 13's green armor enough that he doesn't care when we get there? Can we open him to other experiences within the next 10 years? We're going to work on it, episode 13. Don't be afraid. You'll appreciate it when we get there. Next question. You're going to be more Xbox over time. Maybe, maybe. Oh, the desk is so small. Pete. Why are Mav and Riskit doing a show at the same time? I don't mind that. If you're trying to do podcasts and stuff, there's only so many days a week. It is hard to schedule around each other. It's hard to schedule around all of the other ones. Sometimes you just have to say, no, this is the time slot that works for me. Gonna have to do it. Tom, you're gonna be nice to that if it helps. It's going to. We're gonna slowly chip away. General C has asked, when is the Hunt Showdown Q&Asa? The Hunt Showdown Q&Asa won't be a thing because I don't know enough about it to do questions and answers on Hunt Showdown Corner. But the Hunt Showdown play session, that can happen. We'll get that arranged. Again, need more days in the week, but we'll get it arranged. Evening, Joe. Hope you're doing well. We're just doing the last questions. Then everyone's going to sleep. Long one. They're all long ones these days. There's too much to talk about. Imagine what it's going to be like when there's actually stuff to talk about. Oh, they're going to be so long. Right. Next question. Pete has asked, did you wear a nice plain blue t-shirt tonight on purpose? You know Tony loves that outfit. What do you do and the rest of the audience... Wait. What do you and the rest of the audience think of, quote, traitors? So, Pete, I didn't wear the blue t-shirt on purpose. It was very much an accident. I was wearing a jumper. I cooked, as I normally do on a Thursday these days, a lethally hot chili. Made myself sweat buckets and feel uncomfortable. Took the jumper off and just couldn't find anything to put on, so the blue t-shirt stayed. It's actually I'm consciously aware that it's not anything special, it's just blue. Not that I have special clothes really, apart from Christmas time, you know. I don't understand the traitors thing. What do I think of traitors? What kind of traitors? Give me the context. Because you quoted this, so who are we talking about? JJ, do it. Chili's brilliant. Patrick, you do have to be a bit nice to him. You know, that is one of the rules. You like blue? Good, good. I have a different one of these actually. That's a nicer blue. It's the nicest blue that exists. My son got one for his birthday in November. And I looked at it and said, wow, that's like the nicest blue that ever exists. I must have it. But he's not as big as me at the moment. So but my wife found me a t-shirt exactly the same for Christmas. I got my own. Very nice it is. But it's not this one. This one's okay. So, Pete, have you explained the traitors? Tom, you love grey. Kratos, you have like 7 pieces from Under Armour. Yeah, I'm not like a brandy person, but these are comfortable t-shirts. It works. Episode, what you gonna do if your kid chooses PlayStation? Oh no, Pete. Oh no, don't. I wasn't ready for the next question, Isla. I'll keep it there for a minute. I need to catch up on Pete. You should not have asked. No, you should have, Pete. I just need to understand. I just need to understand. You're an old... I'm an old TV traitor. No, wait. Wait, I can't find... Pete, please, I want to answer your question to the fullest, but I don't understand. A reality TV show called Traitors. What do you and the rest of the audience think of Traitors? And you're quoting it because it's a TV show. Okay, so if you hadn't already gathered from my response to the question, I don't think a lot of it. Never heard of it, don't know what it is. Unlikely to find out. But you can tell me if you think that it's good and worth watching. I'm not going to watch it, even if you tell me it's the best TV show ever. You've already told me it's a reality TV show. I don't have time for that. Bit like Among Us, but shit. Okay. Okay, good. Right, I'm going on to... if you could bring Connors back up, I will get to it. So, Connor wants to see pets. Here it comes. It's not going to be the most elegant view. It's a sneak preview of the exclusive, wonderful Discord server. We have pets. It's a wonderful room where people post their pets and everyone has a wonderful time. We have new pets today from Tom. I assume it just says T, but that's probably Tom. So that needs to go away now because, you know, it's exclusive. Got a special effect for super chats. Joe, You must know I've got the best special effect for super chats. Best on the whole of YouTube. That might not be true yet. Oh, but it's... There are some really nice ones around on this. Wait until people have been members for 12 months and it goes wild stuff, wild stuff. I've already done them. No one's going to get it for like 6 months from now. So by the time it comes up, I will have forgotten about it. No, they don't break the stream anymore. It's all fixed up. I didn't show enough pets, apparently. There's a new one at the bottom. There is a cat about to fall off of a beam. Many pets. I don't know if this is okay. I shouldn't be showing this. People... I feel like I'm betraying people. They didn't put their pets in there with knowledge that I'd show them to the whole of the internet. I shouldn't be doing that. It's wrong. You've deceived me into doing a bad deed. Okay. Another alien. Oh, another alien T. Okay. Okay. I don't know why Discord does this. It, for some reason, presents loads of the names at random. It just reduces them down to one letter. It's not helpful. Pets in my Discord. Yes, Kratos. There's all kinds of stuff in the Discord server. I obviously highly recommend people try and join it. It's a good time. Okay. Baz. Oh, I didn't see you there, Baz. If you are still around, thanks for coming by. What happened to Dealer? I honestly don't know. Honestly don't know. You'd need to ask Fonz, I think, has the closest thing to information on it. I'm assured that he's okay. Dealer's in like some WhatsApp groups that I sit silently in. He's never been active in there anyway, even when he was around, so... I can't tell you. And not just because I'm, like, keeping secrets. Although, obviously, if it was something that needed keeping secret, I would do that for him, but I don't know the story at all. All I know is that he does intend to be back soon. Has, at various points, intended to be back, so hopefully, you'll be seeing RDX again in the near future. And Dealer, whatever you think of podcasts and communities and circles and all the rest of it, he is a nice guy. Has always been good and supportive of not just Game On Daily, but me as well. So hopefully he's all good. Some of the others on RDX, oof, yeesh, you know, but that's enough of that. Let's go to the next question. Don't quote me on that, I'd just be awkward. You always get good advice from Dealer. So Dealer, when I always say that he's nice and supportive, he like specifically took time out of his day to help me with like audio settings for my microphone and things. Just because he is nice like that. Yeah. You didn't know he went. As much as you hate Xbox commentators, you heard too many good things about him. Yeah, I don't think that it's anything to do with all the Xbox conversations that took him out for a while, but... So Painful Discourse has asked, when do you think ABK back compat and Game Pass drop will happen? Well, soon. Has to be soon. There's no reason for it not to. I'm not sure if Diablo 4 and the current Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 3 or whatever, are going to be quite so soon. But the back catalogue of it should start to drop. It will be, I think it would be a mistake of them to do it all in one go, even if they have the technical capacity to do so, because it is a positive marketing beat and they can spread them out, like do a few a week for a good number of months. And that should start, we might even see the first of them on the Developer Direct. I don't think that necessarily fits. I don't think it fits the Developer Direct very nicely. But I think when they're riding the wave of positive news from that, they can keep the wave going a little bit longer by dropping some ABK games. So they're going to start in a couple of weeks, I reckon. That's my guess, and it's just a guess. JJ, from what you heard, he was moving house and was having issues getting set up again. How true, you don't know. Yeah, I also don't know. I think there's more complications than that, but I know nothing of it. Two months ago was the last one. You think he just gave up? He didn't just give up because he didn't want to do it anymore. From any conversation that I get. Let's do the next one. All of you are welcome to speculate on when you think we'll start seeing ABK stuff as well. This is a nice open question. RDX was the first Xbox podcast you listened to just before the Series X came out, so I can't remember at what point we bumped into them. It was probably after the Series X came out, but has anyone got the soundtrack? No, Joe, no one's got the soundtrack. Patrick's Summer Showcase. You reckon the ABK stuff's not going to arrive until summer? Baz. We ran out of questions. Okay, in that case, we're at the end. What's the time? 12:05. That ran long. Good. Sorry, everyone, for making you put up with this for 3 hours. Hopefully some of it was... No, I ran out of words. Turns to 12 and my brain mushes out. That's why I usually stop at that point. But again, massively appreciate everyone that's come, whether you've been talking or not. It's why stuff works. Because we're all here for conversations and I like it. So... who knows what state they were in? I've lost the conversation again. It'll be... oh, that stuff, right? It'll be like a big announcement, like the old back and pat one was. So yeah, showcase will be a big thing. Maybe. So you think they're going to drop them all at once when that happens, or...? We shall see. I think if it does take until summer, then people will get a bit impatient. But we shall see. Depends what state they're in. I don't think it's going to take a whole load of work to get games coming out. I mean, the back compat as in previous generation stuff prior to the Xbox One might take a bit of, I suppose. But we shall see. No, don't worry, Tom, I didn't read that right. This year's the 15-year anniversary of Minecraft, apparently. Is it now? Are you expecting anything for that? No, it is 6 minutes past 12, so we're not going to get into that at the moment. What we're going to do is tell you tomorrow, as far as I know, tomorrow is a Baldur's Gate 3 affair again, with things happening. Saturday, I imagine Go Live is back. Sunday will be community stream. It sounds like we might actually have Overwatch on Sunday, as well as some other things. It won't just be Overwatch. So things will happen. And then Monday, I'm streaming loads at the moment. I do intend to keep that up as much as possible. So much appreciate everyone that does turn up for those as well. I do mean to get back to all the videos and stuff. I've spent so much time doing alerts and fancy things and rejigging the stream and all of that kind of stuff. I'm nearly through all of that. Then I can focus on other kinds of content, I hope. Please don't fall down the stairs. Again, it's too late to ask. You already did it. I'm aware of the flow of time and all of that, but please don't fall down the stairs again. And enjoy your evenings and nights and all the rest of it. Blech.
Asa. Game on Daily. Q&Asa. Game on daily. Asa. Game on daily.